I'm Bev Turner. Thank you for joining us on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Hello there. The Chancellor has gone on the defensive.
Rachel Reeves labels critics of her tax-raising budget as misogynists.
Well, as rumours abound, the Labour MPs are plotting to oust the Prime Minister and his top team next year. Could this be Rachel Reeves' last budget?
With a £400 million overspend already in Northern Ireland, we've been talking to businesses to find out what they need from the Chancellor.
Donald Trump and Volodymyr Zelensky are set to come face-to-face again for crunch talks to iron out a peace deal. So, is the resolution to the war in Ukraine finally on the horizon?
BBC in turmoil again over bias allegations, but the chairman says he's going nowhere despite pressure from MPs.
Record numbers of savvy shoppers are making a hobby out of changing bank accounts, with welcome deals offering quick cash ahead of Christmas.
And in sport this morning, Everton beat Manchester United with 10 men after Idrissa Gueye got sent off for hitting his own teammate. Chelsea, Newcastle and Manchester City all back in Champions League action tonight. And the draw's been made for the first round of the World's Darts Championship.
Good morning. It's a cold and frosty start out there for some of us. Another cold night to come, but that will all change midweek. Find out all the details with me a little later on.
Tuesday morning, a very good morning to you. Thank you for your company. I'm Eamonn Holmes.
I'm Ellie Costello, and this is GB News Breakfast. Now, I'm very upset this morning.
Why?
Oh, no.
Because I left my nice coffee cup in the taxi, didn't I?
What sort of coffee cup? Is it a little coffee cup?
No, the one with the
thermos flask?
Yeah, thermos flask.
So
yeah.
will that now be lost?
I've had it for donkeys. Well, actually, do you know what? I was quite annoyed with my driver this morning, the driver of the taxi, because he said to me, now, make sure you've got everything, make sure you've got your coat and your gloves and your bag. I said, don't speak to me like a child. So I just went, yeah, I've got everything, thanks. Stepped out the taxi, slammed the door, and I went, oh, no, I've forgotten my coffee cup.
Was it the moment you walked out?
I took about 3 steps and he'd already driven off, and now I just feel too embarrassed to say, you were right, I did leave my coffee cup.
Why don't you let Eamonn call him? Eamonn, you could call him, couldn't you?
Maybe you could have a word and just say, look, you were right, she was wrong. She has left her coffee cup.
Yeah, maybe we should do that.
Maybe.
Because if you're particularly close to it.
I do feel quite a tie to that coffee.
Is it one of those with like a tartan design on?
It's
One
pink.
of those old style with the plastic?
It's pink.
It's pink.
Oh, it's a pink thermos flask.
And I can't actually find one online. I think it was one of a kind. Anyway...
You're just going to have to bite the bullet. Just phone him. I'm sorry, you were right. Please, could I have my flask back?
I'm too proud now.
He's sitting there in a lay-by.
He's hardly
like
using a pink coffee cup.
Do you think so?
He took one look at me and said, this girl, she'd lose her head if it wasn't screwed on.
Yeah.
And he was right. So anyway, now I'm having this coffee and it's not quite as...
OK, it's not the same, is it?
It's not quite the same.
What do you mean it's not the same? It is the same.
No, it's not.
It doesn't taste the same.
It doesn't taste the same. So I'm going to have to treat myself on Black Friday, or either of you could get me a new coffee cup. Just
phone, please phone.
I know.
Just because...
I'm going to swallow my pride.
What, are you going to see him tomorrow? Is it always a different...
No, it's just a one-off.
Right, OK, I think you need to make a call.
Well, there we are. First world dilemmas.
It's the first world problem.
3 minutes past 6 o'clock. A very good morning to you. Thank you for being on board. Top story is the Chancellor has accused her critics of misogyny. Misogyny is a complete dislike of women because of their gender, right? So are you a misogynist? Or there's lots of people I don't like. They don't have to be women, men, anything in between. You just don't like them. And there you go. So, and if somebody's good at their job, I don't care if they're man, woman, monkey, whatever, as long as they can do what they can do, and that's where you make your decision and you ask yourself, can Rachel Reeves do what she's supposed to do?
Is she doing a good job? Yeah, well, obviously concerns have been raised about tomorrow's budget, which is expected to raise £30 billion worth of tax.
Now, in a defiant message before the Commons, she has insisted she will be the Chancellor in 2 years' time.
Well, meanwhile, there's reports that backbenchers are planning to oust the Prime Minister next year, replacing Sir Keir Starmer and his top team with the Health Secretary, Wes Streeting.
Well, let's get the views now. Deputy Editor at Spike, we say hello, good morning, welcome. Fraser Myers on this. Well, where's this come from? What do you think as Wes Streeting as the likely replacement candidate, if there is to be one?
Well, at the risk of mansplaining here...
Got to be careful, Fraser.
I think, you know, clearly the problem is that Rachel Reeves is in trouble. I have never seen the build-up to a budget be as disastrous and as chaotic as this one. We know that she needs to either raise taxes or cut spending, and she has floated... She even gave this speech, you know, rolling the pitch for delivering this manifesto pledge busting sense of raising income tax. We now suspect she's not going to do that. Instead, she's talking about a smorgasbord approach to raising taxes across the board. It sounds a bit more like a dog's dinner to me, what's being...
The CBI say, you know, death to companies by 1,000 tax increases.
So, exactly. Companies are struggling under the weight of the last national insurance increase. We already know that wealthy people and many aspirational people are leaving the country, voting with their feet against Rachel Reeves' handling of the economy. Many of the reasons why does she have to raise these taxes? Why is she planning to raise £30 billion, even after she said the last budget would be the last tax-raising budget? Well, there are two main things here. One is the failure to deliver growth. Growth, supposedly the number one ambition of this government. Keir Starmer said there would be a laser-like focus on growth. That hasn't been delivered. And the other is the failure to rein in control of spending, particularly on welfare. In fact, in-work welfare is going to increase after this budget. So really, this is a story of complete failure.
But who makes those decisions? People say, you know, is the Chancellor independent? Does the Prime Minister make the decisions? Or in this case, what seems to be more likely is that backbenchers are making the decisions. They're saying, we want an increase in benefits, for instance.
Well, it seems that, Rachel Reeves is being buffeted between all kinds of different forces. On the one hand, you're right, you have backbenchers who say that there can be no cuts to welfare benefits, including those which many would see as unjustifiable, out-of-work benefits for people who really could be in work and would benefit from being in work. We know that the number of people claiming incapacity benefits of different kinds, often for minor mental health issues, for instance, has skyrocketed. And those people would benefit, I think, from being in work, and the taxpayer would benefit from that
and
too.
if you bring welfare back to the way it was pre-pandemic levels, I mean, that saves something like £46 billion. I mean, that would be an easy save and quite an easy thing to push out there to the British public, wouldn't it? We're just bringing it back to pre-pandemic levels, that it's got out of control over the pandemic.
Absolutely. The public understands this, but for some reason, the Labour backbenchers don't. They think that it's an attack on disabled people. It would, of course, be wrong to attack disabled people and to make their lives more difficult, but I think that wasn't what her original proposals were aiming to do. So she's got herself into a massive muddle there. On the other hand, then you have the Office for Budget Responsibility. She seems to base a lot of her plans entirely on those predictions. Those predictions are continually proven to be wrong. We know that economic modelling is not an exact science. The economist J.K. Galbraith said that economic modelling is there to make astrology look respectable, and yet this is the basis for Britain's government policy. It's It's not sustainable. It's the real problem here, and it's the problem with the Keir Starmer as well, with the Reeves-Starmer double act, is that they have no plan, they have no vision for the country, for where they want to get us. So they are managing crises on a day-to-day basis. They're looking for 1 billion here, 100 million there, rather than having a vision for the country for getting growth, for restoring things, putting things back on a level where you can have more income coming into the Treasury, spending money where it's needed. But they are basically clueless. They're rudderless.
What's your vision for the economy? Is that it, as you just laid out there? And if you were Chancellor, what would you be doing?
If I were Chancellor, I think some of the things I'd be looking at are just making it easier to build. We need to be building houses, building infrastructure. A lot of that is not to do with the lack of government spending. That's actually to do with regulations. We also need to be looking at the cost of energy. That is completely decimating heavy industry. We just saw an ethylene plant in Fife in Scotland close. Which is pretty extraordinary. You know, we invented that chemical process that is used to make plastic. We're seeing historic companies go under as a result of high energy costs. So that has got to be a major focus. You may also want to look at the tax system as well, but that's obviously that's a lot more complicated. But there are, I think, some simple things that a Chancellor could do, that a government committed to growth could do, that could really turn things around quite easily. Actually, Britain has a lot of potential. We don't need to be too despairing. There's a lot of potential out there, but it's being very mismanaged by Rachel Reeves and Keir Starmer.
Well, listen, come back after 7 o'clock, Fraser, and we will mismanage you once again. But if you've got anything to say about what Fraser's been talking about today, have your say. We want to hear from you. He wants to hear from you. What would you do in the budget? What do you think should be done? What do you think is likely to be done that's wrong? Have your say.
Now, let's get out of the Westminster bubble, shall we, and head to Northern Ireland and speak to Dougie Beattie, who's there for us this morning. Very good morning to you, Dougie. What are the people of Northern Ireland hoping for tomorrow, and what are they feeling nervous about?
Well, good morning, Ellie. Good morning, Eamonn. Yes, Northern Ireland has had it particularly hard, especially since the framework document was brought in. It makes trading with Northern Ireland extremely hard. Already behind us, there's an overspend here of 400 million from last budget, and that's not including the PSNI data breach, which could be another 120 million. But really, last year's budget hit hospitality and the city centre because of national insurance rises. Those part-time jobs, those lowly paid jobs that really keep the city centre going. And I spoke earlier on with Glenn Roberts of Retail NI to find out what his thoughts were on last year and this year's budget.
Well, we need a budget that supports growth, that addresses the cost of doing business crisis that we have in the UK. We've seen that the figures for growth are literally non-existent, and that bows out what we said about last year's national insurance increase. It clobbered the business community. It particularly clobbered our small independent retailers and, you know, I think stunted growth on the high street.
Well, you could hear the frustration there over last year's budget, but I also spoke to Neil Sands. He's one of Ireland's foremost entrepreneurs, and he buys up small companies, reinvests in them, and really what we're looking at here is whether what he needs from the Chancellor and how he sees work progressing through education.
Particularly those folks that are, you know, maybe best well versed with the machinery that we have here. The new machinery that's coming out is much more digital, and it does require those digital skills to come along with it.
Well, that is basically where new business is. They want to educate people. They want to make sure that one man can do two jobs, and AI is very, very important in that. And Neil has been very successful all his life in bringing companies on, and that one particular company that he took over there in Portadown went bankrupt a few weeks ago, lost 80 jobs, and he's trying to get those jobs back up and running again. Now, there has been 16.2 million set aside we know that, to help businesses in Northern Ireland negotiate that framework process that means that we are caught half inside the EU and half inside the UK. That is causing major trading problems here. But that money is not to go directly to traders. It is to put systems in place to help those traders negotiate the minefield of paperwork that sits ahead for people trading inside Northern Ireland. So really, a lot of businesses here very, very nervous and want to know exactly how that's going to play out and how they can develop their businesses going forward.
Well, I'm going to tell you how it's going to play out, Dougie. I mean, you put the case very well. You explained it all very well. You talked about that 400 million debt that the government has, and it could have been worse. Could have been, they've got it down, I think, we've got it down from 700 million or whatever. But the truth is, no more special cases for Northern Ireland. I cannot see Westminster saying, well, Northern Ireland, you're different, you're special, have some more money. Wales have some more money, Scotland have some more money. Everybody's looking for more money. And my belief is they don't care at Westminster. They don't care how we fund our police or what we do with our roads or whatever it is. You're on your own.
Well, that probably could be the case, Eamonn, because devolved institutions, of course, work under the Barnett consequentials. So that means there is more money per head to even the whole of Britain out. And it's how those individual devolved governments spend their money. And really, Westminster has a point. They're saying, look, we divide this budget up. It's up to you. Of course, tax is the same. Tax on goods is the same. Tax on fuel is the same. But there's so many things behind us here in Holyrood as well, and in Wales, that is devolved matters, and how they spend their money is up to them. And it's really up to the people who vote these politicians in to hold them to account, and the permanent secretaries that are in charge of these budgets to be really have to answer to the people of these regions as to how and when they've spent the money and why there is an overspend.
Yeah, that is the question, my friend. We're going to get some answers. We're going to hopefully have people having their say throughout the morning. Go warm yourself up, and we'll be back again. Speak to you soon, okay, my friend? Thank you very much indeed.
Thanks, Dougie.
And he is my friend. You know, last week we had our I had my speaking tour around Northern Ireland, and well, Dougie turned up.
Oh, did he? Yeah. Oh, isn't that nice?
There he was in the audience.
Oh.
You know, loyal and nice. And
that's so nice.
So
he came and supported you.
Yeah, he came and supported me. No one else did.
Oh, that's so nice.
From here.
Well, he is slightly closer. We'll give it to him. I was working. Sorry. I was sending you support from across
mentally.
Yeah, from across the sea.
But anyway, thank you, Douglas. Let's get your weather update now, because again, I think it's cold again.
It's certainly cold in this studio. Yeah. I'll tell you that much for free.
That's true, love. Yeah, if only people could see your blanket and where it is, where it's situated.
I've always sat with my little blanket.
Weather update. Annie Shuttleworth, good morning.
Expect warm spells with the odd rude interruption. Box Boiler sponsors the weather on GB News.
Good morning. Welcome to your latest GB News weather update from the Met Office. It's going to be the sunniest day of the week for many of us today, but it is feeling colder out there, and there is a frost expected more widely this evening. We've got a northerly wind across the UK, particularly across coastal areas, and this will drag in a few showers to eastern areas of Scotland, England, as well as southwestern areas of Wales, down in the southwest of England too, down into Cornwall. But for many of us, it will be a dry and clear day. Plenty of sunshine out there, but with that northerly wind, it will feel chillier. Temperatures in the single figures wherever you are, and particularly if you're exposed to that onshore wind off the North Sea, it's going to be feeling colder than it has done over the past few days. And now into this evening, there's very little in the way of change. Another dry evening to come for many areas. A few showers, though, across the far north and west of Scotland. We've got a weather front approaching from the north and west that will take centre stage throughout Wednesday afternoon. Across Northern Ireland, we'll start to see some cloud thicken, but further inland across Scotland, northern areas of England, we'll start to see that frost setting in this evening quite early on, I think. And a few showers could come further inland across eastern areas of England this evening. But for many of us, it is going to be a dry night. And as I said, the frost will really start to set in. You can see those blues across the map. That's showing where we're expecting temperatures to dip below zero. So it's quite a widespread affair by Wednesday morning, away from the far southeast of England. So we could be down as low as -6 or -7 across parts of Scotland, -5 across rural areas of Wales and parts of the Midlands. As I said, on Wednesday, we've got a weather front on the way. Now, that will push into parts of Northern Ireland, much of western Scotland throughout Wednesday morning. The rain's not going to be particularly heavy, but there's going to be a lot of cloud with it. And with this rain and cloud, temperatures will be on the rise. You can see the wind direction starting to shift to more of a southwesterly, so up to 11 or 10 degrees. But in the south and east, although it's dry, it's still going to be a chilly one. Bye-bye.
Expect warm spells with the odd rude interruption. Boxed Boiler sponsors the weather on GB News.
John has had his say this morning, and John says, I'm going to need to weigh up after the budget whether I'd be better off in benefits or carry on working with a disability. People are suffering all over the country, yet people who break into this country illegally live the life of Riley in hotels with no bills to worry about, John says.
Michael says, growing up as a kid in Putney, I had 2 paper rounds. I would do odd jobs for all of the neighbours, cleaning their gardens, washing their cars, doing a bit of shopping for them, everything in between. Margaret Thatcher was the Prime Minister of this country, and no one from the age of 16 to 18 got benefits. We need more tough love in this country, says Michael.
You see, this is a point. When I grew up, when I was a teenager, no money, right? There was no money. We had no money. But I used to do, like my brothers, we'd all do the same thing. You'd cut grass, you would trim hedges, you would have a paper round. I worked in a milk float. I can't stand milk. The smell of milk, curdled milk, smelly milk, awful. And yet you did it because you got a few quid for it. As you get older, you would drive people's cars for them, drive them home from the pub, get a few quid for doing that as well. Work in the bars, do all that. So listen, it used to be that there was no what am I saying, object in the way when you wanted a job. But
always opportunities
Kemi Badenoch was saying now that employment rights now stop people getting jobs or people taking on casual
temp
workers
work,
or whatever. But I just don't know. I don't understand how when I go into a restaurant, it is only people with accents and foreign voices that are serving you. People not want to work in these jobs.
Maybe they don't. Maybe they don't. Maybe they think it's too poorly paid. I don't know. Anyway, let us know. gbnews.com/you'll-say. Oh, and there's also a brand new way to take part in the conversation. You can become a friend of GB News for free. Let's take a look.
Join the community and be part of our shows by becoming a friend of GB News. Get a direct line to join the conversations that you hear us talking about every day in our programmes by commenting on Your Say and voting in You Decide polls. Access opinion, analysis and behind-the-scenes videos as we share more from the stories that you see on TV and radio. Plus, watch our shows live and on catch-up anywhere, anytime. If you love our channel, become a friend of GB News for free by scanning the QR code or going to gbnews.com/friend. Don't just watch our programmes, come and be a part of them.
Do you think anybody watches us again? I mean, do you think somebody watching me now, it's 3:15 in the afternoon?
Yeah, lots of people watch us on YouTube.
But who's going to watch the news at 6:20 in the morning at 3:15 in the afternoon?
Maybe because they missed the show and they want to watch it back. Lots of people watch us on YouTube.
Gosh.
Yeah, you can go home tonight, you can watch yourself back.
Can I?
Yeah. I think it's a great idea.
OK, each to their own. Anyway, a freediving world record has been broken. So Ellie was explaining to me what's involved in this freediving
Well, I was
business.
taking a guess, wasn't I?
Yeah, but I think Paul Coyte, he'll have all the details that you need about that, who's done it and why they've done it, right after this. Please don't go away.
Oh,
Bold.
They are under no illusion.
Brave.
Are you a human trafficker?
Boundless. I've had enough of the nonsense, and I'm not afraid to say it.
Don't get us on the BBC.
Every weeknight, I tear through the headlines.
The smell of gasoline. Should we be worried about it?
From Westminster madness to cultural war chaos.
What I'm going to do now is they are throwing things out the car as we speak.
Get ready, Britain. Here we go. Patrick Christie's tonight, weeknights from 9 p.m. only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
5 hosts, 5 opinions, 5 fearless debates, 5 unfiltered takes on the day's news.
5 reasons not to be anywhere else on Saturday night.
This is the Saturday 5. You got me. You got me good there. Britain's biggest Saturday night TV show.
It's not a bad brand.
Yeah. Uncensored.
Very, very racy tonight.
On the unpredictable.
What did she say? Can you translate it for us?
And always entertaining.
And how can a country go from being led by William Wallace Saturday nights from 6 p.m. only on GB News, the People's Channel.
Britain's news channel.
You're going to want to stay tuned, trust me.
Britain's economy is at a crossroads.
And this budget day, every decision counts.
From taxes and rent to the cost of living. Whatever the outcome, the GB News family will be there.
With expert analysis breaking down what it means for you.
Budget day all day tomorrow.
Only here on the People's Channel.
Britain's news channel.
Britain's economy is at a crossroads.
And this budget day, every decision counts.
From taxes and rent to the cost of living. Whatever the outcome, the GB News family will be there.
With expert analysis breaking down what it means for you.
Budget day all day tomorrow.
Only here on the People's Channel.
Britain's news channel.
I'm looking here, there's dogs for sale through charities and whatever. Yeah. It's an annual pre-Christmas sale.
Yeah? Really?
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Sniff out a deal on Bark Friday.
But I hate it when people, I mean, I know it's the old phrase, isn't it? A dog is for life, not for Christmas.
Not for Christmas.
People do that. And a lockdown, a lot of people thought, oh, we'll get a dog. Got to be able to look after a dog properly. So there's a charity called Many Tears who are fantastic.
Christmas is a very busy period. I couldn't imagine buying a dog for Christmas.
Yeah.
No.
It's a big responsibility.
It's a huge
do all the training.
Absolutely.
But you see, there you go. If you go after and adopt a rescue dog, you don't have to worry about any training.
Oh, see, I'd want a puppy.
The dog, well, it could be 6 months old. We got Maggie when she was 6 months old, with all the dirty bits done.
And she was fully trained?
Yeah.
Was she potty trained?
Well, we didn't have any issues with her.
Fabulous.
Well, Nellie's 7, 8, and she's rescue. She's been learning how to sit.
No. What, just now?
Yeah.
So
better late than never.
For a couple of years, you see.
Here we are, Tuesday, November the 25th. That means it is 1 month left until Christmas, and time is running out. If you want to enjoy it all, I'm talking about the great Christmas getaway, giveaway, all sorts of things.
You could get away with this money.
From us, here it is.
There's just 30 days until Christmas, and it's the final week to see how you can enjoy it on us. That's £30,000 in tax-free cash to make 2026 fantastic. A further £10,000 cash to spend on gifts for all the family, the tree and decorations. £1,000 in vouchers to buy a slap-up Christmas lunch at your favourite supermarket. And finally, a GB News Christmas goodie bag. Plus, we're going to get it all to you in time for the big day. For another chance to win, text WIN to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus one standard network rate message. Or text BONUS to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus one standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entries start at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge. Or post your name and number to GB 17 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrance must be 18 or over. Lines close at 4 p.m. on the 28th of November. The winner may be contacted live on GB News, week commencing the 8th of December. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand. Good luck.
Have a go, change your Christmas, have a lovely Christmas on us. Right, let's look at the sport last night. And Paul, forgive me if I start with the Man United-Everton game. Very, very strange one. Everton had a man sent off in very unusual circumstances.
Yeah, it doesn't happen very often, does it, when you have two of the same team having a fight and one of them gets sent off. I kind of find it weird.
It's unedifying.
I don't even know what that means.
Not a good look.
Not a good look.
Well, it was a good hook, and
it was.
Yeah,
it was a good hook,
and therefore it was dangerous, and therefore that's why. For hitting this guy.
Idrissa Gueye. It was Idrissa Gueye, Everton player, that hit Michael Keane.
What was going on?
Well, that was just a bit of...
argy-bargy?
Well, it was a bit of argy-bargy because it was disagreement. It was only in the 13th minute of the game because the ball came through, didn't it, Eamonn? I know you saw that. And then Michael Keane had a go at Idrissa Gueye, and then it got a bit of a push, and then he gave him, as my old dad would say, a right-hander.
Yeah.
A bit of a right-hander.
Then
So
the referee did a right-hander. He reached his back pocket and a red card came out.
So, but is it right? I know we said that. Is it... If you can get sent off, right, obviously, if you hit someone from the other side. But if it's on your own side...
Well, he was out of
should
control.
It be?
Yes, I think so. He's out of control. He's not conforming to the rules of the game. You can't use physical violence against someone else and just carry on.
See, when you say physical violence, that sounds... I suppose it was, right?
Yeah, it was. It was a smack in the kisser.
What year, when do you think the last time a player was sent off for striking another one of his own players?
No idea.
5 years ago.
It's not bad. 2008, bit longer. 2008 was the last time it happened. Last time it happened. By the way, David Moyes, the Everton manager, we're avoiding the result, which I'm doing for you, by the way. This is what I'm doing, because Everton beat Manchester United 1-0 at Old Trafford. So David Moyes, the Everton manager, he was asked about how he felt. How do you think he would react to that?
To his player being sent off.
Angry.
Well, I don't think so, because I think he's won. That's the important thing to him. And he's an ex-United manager.
He is.
And to have won at Old Trafford, I think that was his first time winning at Old Trafford.
First 18 attempts.
Yeah.
As a opposing manager.
I really don't think you could have spoilt his evening. We'll deal with it in our own space and time.
So there's either two ways. There's either we will deal with it in our own space and time. I've spoken to the two players. Shows passion. That's the other one that you hear. This is what you had to say, David Moyes.
Well, I didn't think, when I saw it, I didn't think there was anything in it. I didn't think they were going to... I was a bit annoyed that they were challenging each other at the time. But I was also quite pleased. Quite pleased they were fighting each other, because it showed me that they cared, and it showed me that there was a bit of that, and that's what's in Everton. We're trying to demand higher standards from everybody. So I can't quite work it out if it was Keno's bad ball or if it was Ghana's bad ball to Keno, whatever they were annoyed with each other with.
Interesting.
I wonder if they kissed
Very
and made up.
interesting.
They've got to, haven't they? I think probably after the, all the heat and the passion of probably the wrong words there, because it was actually wasn't that lovely in the fight. I'm sure they made up. I'm sure everything was fine. But anyway, Manchester United, not a good result at home to Everton.
No, bad system that the manager insists on playing. We had like 85% possession. And what's the point if you don't take a shot?
You know what Ruben Amorim said afterwards? Said, I would like to see my players fighting each other to show a bit of passion. So there you go.
Oh.
Not to get sent off, but actually to show a little bit of something. It's happened to you, happened to us over on Sunday.
Should we look ahead to tonight in the Champions League?
Champions League is back, so we're getting towards the end of the group stage now. So Manchester City, who are fourth at the moment, will play Bayer Leverkusen, who are 21st. Now, by the way, Pep apologised yesterday. This is something that you don't see very often, because there was a situation in the game when they lost at Newcastle where there was almost a little bit of argy-bargy, where he wasn't happy with a camera that was going right up to his face, and it was all, so what he took the headphones off of the cameraman, said something in his ear, and then now I would like to see this. This is Pep apologising. This is yesterday, talking about the incident.
I feel embarrassed, ashamed when I see it. I don't like it. I apologise for the camera after 1 second. So
that's what I'm asking. Do you even need to? Because it just happens, doesn't these things?
I am who I am. Even 1,000 games, I'm not a perfect person. I make a huge mistake. So it's not about that, but I don't regret. What is for sure, I defend my team and my club. That's for sure. The reason why is I want to defend my team and my club.
Yes, yeah, someone kissing up going, do you need to apologise? Well, yeah.
Yeah.
So he did. Anyway, conversation with cameraman. Chelsea have got Barcelona, which is tonight. Cole Palmer's training again. Marseille versus Newcastle. Nobody's calling it this, but we will call this the Chris Waddle Derby, because the great Chris Waddle, who played at Newcastle, also great success in Marseille, so 25th Marseille, Newcastle in 6th, so they're doing very well, so we're getting towards the end of the Champions League.
Darts coming back tonight?
Yep, draw for the first round. Well, it's actually the draw for the first round of the World Championships. Starts in December. Luke Littler wants to become the first person to successfully defend the World Championship in 10 years. Any ideas? Last one? Last one to win the World Championship twice.
Was it Gary Anderson?
It was Gary Anderson. Very good. What do you think? You love the Errors, don't you?
I do love the Errors.
2015, 2016.
Can't get enough.
It was Gary Anderson. Very good. 5 titles since then.
Ding, ding, ding.
He's playing Lithuanian Darius Labanowski. Luke Humphreys will play Ted Evans. And 3-time women's world champion, by the way, Bo Greaves, we've spoken about her before. She'll play Super Chin Daryl Gurney.
Okay.
And there's Bo there.
There she is.
I get a bit nervous when I see darts. It reminds me when I played with my brothers.
Oh no! You still got
Were you the dartboard?
scars, literally
in the thigh.
I can't believe that. That's awful.
What do you mean you can't believe it?
Well, I mean, I can believe it, but I can't believe it because it's such an awful thing to do.
Was it 4 boys?
Did he show 3 darts in your leg? You go 180.
I'm glad you find that funny.
I do. I'm sorry. It was a long time ago.
6:35 is the time. Paul will be back at 7:20. If you're out and about, how are the roads shaping up? Let's find out.
Good morning. This is the latest AI travel news from gbnews.com. Significant disruptions include the A92 northbound between Crossgates and Cowdenbeath due to a broken-down vehicle. The M48 has a 7.5-tonne weight restriction for heavy goods vehicles in both directions, starting today with no end date announced. Sunderland's A19 southbound is closed between junctions with the A690 and A1018 due to a collision. Derbyshire's M1 southbound has 1 lane closed between junction 29 and junction 28 for road management. And on the trains, northern buses replace trains between Corkicle and Whitehaven, with ongoing disruption between Horsforth and Harrogate. For more travel news, go to gbnews.com.
Now, do stay with us. Still to come, the BBC's chairman is insisting he won't step down and is even arguing that there's a plausible case for editing those President Trump clips.
Well, I don't believe there is, but I believe that there's a good reason not to know that they were edited so badly. That is Anna Firth and that is David Wooding, and they're studying up on this to talk more right after this short break.
I'm Michelle Dewberry. This is Jubes & Co. with you.
Hello everyone, Patrick Christie is here. GB News, Britain's news channel.
Access the stories that matter to you. Take the GB News family with you on any device. And as long as you have an internet connection, tune in to GB News anywhere on the planet or beyond. GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
From the school run to the home run, watch a new show for all of Britain.
So he can say whatever he wants.
A straight talking show where all voices are heard.
And, you know, when are we going to stop talking about smashing the gangs and actually do it?
With the stories that matter from every part of our country.
There's a bit of a crash landing there for your Chancellor.
Bold, fearless and standing up for you. That's me, Martin Daubney, 3 p.m. till 6 p.m, weekdays, here only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
5 hosts, 5 opinions, 5 fearless debates, 5 unfiltered takes on the day's news.
5 reasons not to be anywhere else on Saturday night.
This is the Saturday 5. You got me. You got me good there. Britain's biggest Saturday night TV show.
It's not a bad brand.
Yeah. Uncensored.
Very, very, very easy tonight.
On the unpredictable.
What did she say? Can you translate it for us?
And always entertaining.
And how can a country go from being led by William Wallace Saturday nights from 6 p.m. only on GB News, the People's Channel.
Britain's news channel.
You're going to want to stay tuned, trust me.
Decisions made in Washington aren't just shaping America, they're shaping Britain too. From migration to global security, from crime to health. Whatever happens in the White House today
will be felt in your town or city tomorrow.
That's why The Late Show is live from Washington, D.C.
Cutting through the politics to show you what it all means for Britain.
The Late Show live every night at midnight.
Only on GB News,
Britain's news channel.
Exciting news. Every Friday, my Patrick Christie's Tonight Show is going to have a twist to it. We're welcoming some special guests. You. That's right, on Fridays I'm going to be doing my show in front of a live studio audience because this show is about you and what you have to say. It's going to be the same big debates, same big topics, same big opinions, but every Friday night at 9 p.m. you are invited to come on down to Patrick Christie's Tonight to be a part of the action. Only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
At GB News, we love to hear from you, our loyal community. So drop us a line at gbnews.com/yoursay. There you can talk to each other and also to the presenters live on air. gbnews.com/yoursay, because GB News is your channel, Britain's news channel.
We've got to that stage in the morning that we've got two people looking at the papers, and they're Anna Firth, who we're delighted to welcome, and David Wooding, both of them regulars here on the programme. Folks, good morning to you.
Morning.
And I want to start with the BBC situation and who is responsible for what. This is very interesting because David is a former newspaper editor, and just before I get Anna's reaction to this, David, I'd say to you, is it really the right thing to do, or can you, at the top of the tree, be responsible for everything further down the branches or not?
Well, I think you have to be. I always felt responsible for every word in the paper. I would read the copy when it came in, and then I would read it proofed in the page, and I would sit down heavily in the early evening reading every word. Even doing that, you sometimes miss errors because your eye glances over them, but I make sure I read everything. And I used to pick up dozens of mistakes that had gone through the filters of the journalist writing it, the news editor checking it, and then the sub-editor doing it, and it being revised, and it comes to my desk, and things I'd asked for were not in there.
You think Tim Davie or Deborah Turness should have done the same?
Well, yes. I think perhaps they couldn't do that. I mean, BBC is a bigger organisation because there's so much more to do. But at the end of the day, if you're in charge, you have to instill in the people working below you that you are responsible for it, and that you expect them to meet your demands. And the book has to stop somewhere, Eamonn. I know you can't blame everybody.
That's true, but
huge number of journalists, though. I mean, 7,000. This is last figures from 2022. So you'd expect to more than that now.
Perhaps, you know, what the chairman was saying yesterday was that he didn't think Tim Davie as Director General should have gone. It was probably right and proportionate that the head of news went. I mean, in fact, she was defending it to some extent, what had happened.
Anna, what do you think?
Oh, I mean, I think he's completely in denial. I think the captain of the ship has to take responsibility for if the ship crashes. And Tim Davie has taken responsibility. You know, hats off to him in a way. He went quickly. The head of news sort of took responsibility. It was the most weasel word apology, saying that the BBC was still impartial. A board member's gone. How can the chair of the board stay in place? I think he's in denial.
Here's my problem with it all. This was an independent programme made for the BBC, first of all, right? So it's not... the BBC will have had somebody that will have looked and checked the programme, whatever it is. They're still in their job. Why haven't they gone? Why hasn't the editor of October Films, whatever, who put that out, why have they not gone? I mean, why are there not casualties further down the tree?
I totally agree with that, Eamonn, and I thought it was very strange at the beginning, the fact that we didn't get to the detail of who had actually done it and what was happening to them. But you can't get away from the fact that when it was first aired, it was highlighted that has been doctored. It was actually said on air, and they still carried on and used it a second time. And that's unforgivable.
I think what you were saying, Eamonn, about why aren't people further down the line being punished. I think you hit the nail on the head there, because that's the reason really that Tim Davie had to go. Because for 6 months, instead of dealing with it, getting rid of people who acted badly, it was covered up. And then when it actually came out, excuses were made. So I think...
You think, David, I know what it would be like to work with you.
Yep.
And if we had people under us here who made an edit like that, that was a pretty
bad.
Drastic edit. Organised a fictitious account. You would have had words to say. You would just have to say, what are you doing? This is wrong.
Yeah, and Eamonn, if you were interviewing someone, or if you were interviewing someone, Ellie, on air, and they said that video you've just shown is not accurate. Now, you might not be able to deal with it live on air, but you would have asked questions afterwards.
Well, apparently there was a whistleblower who... Well, I was listening to this whistleblower, actually, on a podcast, saying that the next day there was a meeting of the Newsnight team where they addressed that clip, and apparently it was just brushed under the carpet.
Well, there you go.
Apparently what?
It was brushed under the carpet, and the fact that it had been outlined live on the programme, that clip's been doctored.
So the BBC has been held to a different standard to a newspaper.
We keep saying the BBC.
Basically.
This is October Films. This is an independent production for the BBC, is my point.
We're talking about the Newsnight clips. This was another instance, a similar doctoring, but it was a different programme.
It was shown by the BBC after they were on notice, or they should have been on notice, that it was giving a misleading, and I would say a dishonest impression. But if this had been a tabloid, we were discussing this outside. Remember, the News of the World went out of business because of the phone hacking scandal. So why is the BBC being treated differently?
And, of course, newspapers take stories from freelancers. And so we can't sort of say, well, it wasn't our fault, it was a freelancer who did it. You still held responsible under the Editor's Code of the Independent Press Standards Organisation to ensure that your copy is accurate.
What you're taking is fair and accurate.
And balanced.
Right, you two, do stay with us. We're going to be back with the papers in just a moment. Still to come, Trump and Zelensky set to meet within a matter of days to hammer out the final details of a peace deal between Ukraine and Russia. That's after the European weather.
Ready to soak up that holiday sunshine?
Won't we need some cover?
No worries. All sorted.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News Travel Destinations Forecast.
Hello, we've got some wet weather pushing through the Mediterranean this week. It should turn drier by the time we get to the weekend, however. In the Canary Islands, it's looking relatively dry, highs around 19 degrees. A little bit cooler towards Lisbon, 11 or 12 degrees. Now, here's that wet weather I mentioned. It's moving across parts of Italy, Slovenia, as well as Croatia, and into Greece later on this week. But parts of Italy, as well as Croatia, should get drier by Friday or Saturday, temperatures remaining a little below average. Bye-bye.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News Travel Destinations Forecast.
At GB News, we love to hear from you, our loyal community. So drop us a line at gbnews.com/yoursay. There you can talk to each other and also to the presenters live on air. gbnews.com/yoursay, because GB News is your channel, Britain's news channel.
Good afternoon, Britain. Weekdays from midday.
The new guidelines instruct visa officers to reject applicants who may be eligible for public benefits as part of the President's hardline crackdown on immigration, all to prevent people becoming dependent on those public benefits and draining the US resources.
So with an increasing obesity problem in the UK, should the UK follow Trump and ban visas for fat people?
Well, joining us now is the body positivity influencer and actor George Keywood and the former presenter of Fat Families, Steve Miller. Steve, I think I might know what you think about this one. Let's kick off with you.
Well, I think this is great. I think this is Trump using common sense. This is Trump putting his country first. And wouldn't that be a breath of fresh air if we had it in the UK? Of course, you know, by encouraging people that are too fat and have already got medical conditions, serious medical conditions, coming into your country, what I'm saying is, it is a common sense factor, because the likelihood is that they're going to cost your country a lot of money. And let's face it, the taxpayer is already under stress. The NHS is knackered. And do you know how much it costs per year to look after someone with diabetes? It costs up to £3,000 a year. So no, we're bust. We can't afford it. So Trump's policy is something absolutely we should adopt. It's common sense, and I think most British people would agree.
George Keywood, what do you think? Is he being unfair?
Well, I'm British and I completely disagree. It's absolute nonsense, isn't it? Let's be honest. I mean, Jesus Christ. Are we getting to the point where we're saying that fat people can't go in a country? I mean, it's just absolutely ludicrous. And it's something that I expect for somebody like that to say.
GB News, the People's Channel.
Join me, Nana Okoye, for an informative, interactive news programme with a difference. It's fun. No, he didn't say that, Dave. I'm so surprised.
I think there's an element of truth to that.
Join me from 3 p.m. every weekend, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
In the GB Newsroom, we bring you the news as it happens.
With our team of dedicated journalists across the UK,
we're ready to keep you up to date with what's happening every half an hour, every single day. Bulletins here on GB News,
the People's Channel,
Britain's news channel.
Go out for lunch.
Welcome back. We're going through the papers with David Wooding and Anna Firth. David, let's start with you, shall we? And Rachel Reeves looking at hitting savers in the budget tomorrow.
Yes.
The latest from the Mail today.
Well, it seems that among the other punishing announcements in the budget tomorrow, one of them is going to be to cut the limit of the amount you put into ISAs, the independent saving accounts. It's a tax-free savings account, of course, and you can put in £20,000 a year. She's going to cut that to £12,000. Now, people are warning, experts and the mortgage industry are saying this will mean a lot of people use them to save up to buy their first house.
Yeah.
And this is, again, a government that's trying to get people into a home ownership, building new homes. It's going to, at the same time, they're bringing in a mansion tax, so the whole housing market is going to be stifled by this. And, you know, it's just another punishing deal when in terms of trying to get growth. You need people to save, and I think something like £700 billion is saved in ISAs, and 40% of them are in cash ISAs. What I think she wants to do is try to get people to invest in stocks and shares, but of course, with all the lack of confidence in the economy at the moment, that's just not going to happen.
And also for individuals to take that risk, it's ridiculous, because when you invest in an ISA, obviously that money's going to a bank or a professional organisation, which then, of course, will be investing that money for you, and it's a much safer way for people to save. I mean, this is just. I have found the run up to this budget unbelievable. I've never seen anything like it. There's normally a lot of speculation, what will be in, what won't be in, but not normally from the Chancellor herself.
What do you make of her speaking yesterday, saying that critics of her and her ability to do her job are misogynists? Were you aware of misogyny in public life when you were an MP?
Well, I mean, of course there is misogyny, but I think that's quite a serious word, actually. And I think that everybody in public life, whatever sex, has got to be questioned robustly and held accountable. And that is not misogynistic. And there's plenty of women who get quite a lot of criticism. Angela Rayner's one. I haven't heard her say that, actually. So I think that's a pathetic excuse.
And a lot of Labour people were being quite scathing of Liz Truss and Theresa May when they were Prime Minister. And so, you know, it's a bit rich to be now saying that it's a Labour person.
What I think is really shocking is she had a bit of good news with the OBR. Raising the threshold and saying that she had a bit more headroom. And what did she do with that 10 billion unexpected boom? She spent it straight away out of the door.
OK, thank you very much indeed, guys. Going to be back again in 40 minutes' time. Here's your weather.
Warm and cosy, with a chance of zero visibility. Boxed Boilers sponsors the weather on GB News.
Good morning. Welcome to your latest GB News weather update from the Met Office. It's going to be the sunniest day of the week for many of us today, but it is feeling colder out there and there is a frost expected more widely this evening. We've got a northerly wind across the UK, particularly across coastal areas, and this will drag in a few showers to eastern areas of Scotland, England, as well as southwestern areas of Wales, down in the southwest of England too, down into Cornwall. But for many of us, it will be a dry and clear day. Plenty of sunshine out there, but with that northerly wind, it will feel chillier. Temperatures in the single figures wherever you are, and particularly if you're exposed to that onshore wind off the North Sea, it's going to be feeling colder than it has done over the past few days. And now into this evening, there's very little in the way of change. Another dry evening to come for many areas. A few showers, though, across the far north and west of Scotland. We've got a weather front approaching from the north and west that will take centre stage throughout Wednesday afternoon. Across Northern Ireland, we'll start to see some cloud thicken, but further inland across Scotland, northern areas of England, we'll start to see that frost setting in this evening quite early on, I think. And a few showers could come further inland across eastern areas of England this evening, but for many of us, it is going to be a dry night. And as I said, the frost will really start to set in. You can see those blues across the map. That's showing where we're expecting temperatures to dip below zero. So it's quite a widespread affair by Wednesday morning, away from the far southeast of England. So we could be down as low as -6 or -7 across parts of Scotland, -5 across rural areas of Wales and parts of the Midlands. As I said, on Wednesday, we've got a weather front on the way. Now that will push into parts of Northern Ireland, much of Western Scotland throughout Wednesday morning. The rain's not going to be particularly heavy, but there's going to be a lot of cloud with it. And with this rain and cloud, temperatures will be on the rise. You can see the wind direction starting to shift to more of a southwesterly, so we're up to 11 or 10 degrees. But in the south and east, although it's dry, it's still going to be a chilly one. Bye-bye.
Warm and cosy, with a chance of zero visibility. Boxed Boilers sponsors the weather on GB News.
Thank you, Britain, for sharing over 5 million comments on your say. Because when you talk, we listen.
Good morning, this is the latest AI travel news from gbnews.com. There is a warning for drivers on the A92 northbound between Crossgates and Cowdenbeath, where a broken down vehicle is causing delays. Exercise caution while approaching this area. Additionally, attention is required on the M48, as a 7.5-tonne weight restriction is in place for heavy goods vehicles both ways from the 27th of May onward until further notice. Also, on the trains, expect disruptions on the Elizabeth line between Abbeywood and London Paddington, as well as delays on Great Northern services to and from Moorgate. For more travel news, go to gbnews.com.
It's the final week to see how you can enjoy Christmas on us. First, we'll give you an incredible £30,000 in tax-free cash. Then we'll give you a further £10,000 cash to spend on all your Christmas presents, even the tree. Christmas lunch, that's on us too, with £1,000 in shopping vouchers to spend at your favourite supermarket. Finally, a GB News Christmas goodie bag. For another chance to win, text WIN to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus one standard network rate message. Or text BONUS to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus one standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entries start at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge. Or post your name and number to GB17 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrance must be 18 or over. Lines close at 4 p.m. on the 28th of November. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand. Good luck.
Britain was once the envy of the world. But look around. A nation that no longer knows what it is or where it's going. A country that's broken. How do we fix Britain? How do we bring it back? Friday night with Matt Goodwin at 8 p.m. only on GB News.
No matter the state it's in, this is our nation. Join me, Jacob Rees-Mogg, for a genuine, honest discussion on where we have been, where we are going, and where we are with the people who set the direction. Tune in to State of the Nation every Monday to Thursday, 8 to 9 o'clock, only on GB News.
Britain deserves a newsroom that puts the facts and your voice first.
Well, and that's what you get on GB News. Lively debates,
lively conversation.
And we're not afraid to hold power to account.
And each other. So join me, Andrew Pearce.
And me, Miriam Gates, for Britain's Newsroom, weekdays from 9:30 on GB News.
A really important thing about GB News, and it's brought something completely different to the landscape.
The mainstream is all about keeping the status quo as it is, ticking along quite nicely. They don't want to ask difficult questions.
GB News exists because there is a desperate need for fearless journalism that puts the people first.
GB News came on the scene as a disruptor, and it has always been a disruptor ever since.
Journalism in this country has been a cosy world full of groupthink until now.
Well, the reality is that most British journalists are afraid. That's not GB News.
Journalism is journalism at the end of the day, and we're not here to serve any masters. Our masters are our audience.
We're here to talk about things in a way that have never been broadcast on British airways before.
Do not miss a moment on GB News.
The #1 news channel in the country.
Good morning. The Chancellor goes on the defensive.
Rachel Reeves labels critics of her tax-raising budget as misogynists.
As rumours fly around that Labour MPs are plotting to oust the Prime Minister and his top team next year. So could this be Rachel Reeves' last budget?
With over a £400 million overspend in Northern Ireland's budget and the national insurance hikes costing jobs, businesses are nervous and apprehensive about what will come in tomorrow's budget.
Increase universal credit payments in line with inflation, despite a record number of claimants. At 8:20 this morning, we're debating if it's time to crack down on benefits, and are the people who claim them scroungers.
President Trump and Volodymyr Zelensky are set to come face-to-face again for crunch talks in order to iron out a peace deal.
The BBC is in turmoil over bias allegations.
But the chairman says he's going nowhere. That's despite pressure from MPs.
Record numbers of savvy shoppers are making a hobby out of changing bank accounts. With welcome deals offering quick cash ahead of Christmas. You get paid to change your account. So stay tuned for the best offers at around 7:20.
Sport this morning. Everton beat Manchester United with 10 men after Idrissa Gueye was sent off for hitting his own teammate. Chelsea, Newcastle and Manchester City back in Champions League action tonight. And a new world record, I'm obsessed with this stuff, for free diving has been set.
Good morning. It's a cold and frosty start out there for some of us. Another cold night to come, but that will all change midweek. Find out all the details with me a little later on.
Tuesday morning, good morning, with you until 9:30. I'm Eamonn Holmes.
I'm Ellie Costello, and this is GB News Breakfast.
So, Mr. Paul, what is free diving?
We've done it before. It's where you dive down and just keep going, and it's how far down you can dive in water. It's as simple as that. And it's
so
terrifying.
How far down you can go holding your breath?
Yes.
And have you to do some sort of acrobatic performance?
No. It's purely diving down. See, the thing is, they have to hold their breath for sort of like 3-4 minutes, whatever. But also, it's not only how deep you go, but then you've got to come back up again. So you've got to hold your breath. You're going down like 80 metres or whatever it is, and they go, and it's incredibly dangerous. There was a film made about this. People have died doing this, and it's a really scary sport. Look, there's a little example of what you could see there. Now there's like a rope or a pole that goes down, so they'll follow that down. So by the time you get further down, right down to it gets darker and colder, and then
you're dealing with the pressure.
That's it. It's all of that, because there's obviously the bends when you go back up as well. So you've got to take your time, because you could have a brain injury. It's just, I really can't understand why anybody would want to do it.
Why would you want to do it then?
Because it's there. I don't know. I really, honestly don't understand it. It's It's just scary. It's awful, but people do it, and there are world champions for it.
You could say that about a lot of extreme sports, though.
Yeah.
I was listening to a podcast yesterday about someone doing 7 triathlons in 7 days, and I was like, but why?
Well, we were going to do that later as well.
Oh,
yeah,
really?
yeah, that's another thing.
But why?
it's not as. But
Sounds
it's
very
not.
painful.
It couldn't kill you like those that could. I mean, that's really. Did you when you would go swimming then? Do you remember? And did you ever do the pyjamas? Drop the brick in the 12-foot area.
That was quite fun. Yeah.
And go down and get the brick. Eamonn, you give me a face that you don't remember. Did you not do the brick?
I can't swim.
Oh, yeah, of course you can't.
What's to do with the brick? I'm glad you find that funny.
I'm sorry, again, I know, I'm so sorry.
We can rescue you.
I forgot, though, you would be the brick.
I've got 4 other brothers. None of us can swim.
That's
my mother didn't allow us to go into water.
Honestly, I knew you couldn't
She
swim.
also didn't allow us to use public toilets.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so I was like 28 and I still went to the loo with my mother.
Did you?
You could only go to the... No, it did
You're
not.
winding me up.
But she didn't allow us to use adult toilets.
Oh, wow.
So she would accompany us to the ladies.
Really?
Oh, well, all 4 boys?
Because there would be perverts in the toilets, in the parks and things.
Why?
Come here,
Is that why
I'll give you a sweetie. You know,
Oh, no, that's not good. No, that's... No.
No.
Is that why you
You've
weren't allowed
got
to
to warn
swim?
your children about that. No, it's nothing to do with not being allowed to swim.
So the swimming?
My mother was very
That was just a
protective.
separate danger.
Do you know also my mother never allowed us to eat in anybody's house?
Really?
So you
Why? In case you choke.
Somebody would say, would you like a slice of cake? No, my mother said you can never see their kitchens. You don't know how dirty it is, so you don't eat. So even though you wanted a slice of cake or whatever, you'd just be...
Oh.
You'd always have to say no.
Don't want anything.
Aw.
Don't want anything. That's why if you ever
Your mum
invite
was
me-
quite strict.
No, she was just paranoid, I think.
But to swim, though, would be a really important thing to learn to have to do.
But you would die when you talk about your free diving. And
I don't want
things.
you to free dive. I just want you to go in the like.
Have a little dip.
Just a little.
Have a little dip.
Anyway,
okay.
we can save you because we've both done our pyjama brick thing.
We did it. Yes.
Yeah.
Bananas
quite good
and
at that.
pyjamas. I remember those.
Oh, yeah, that's a whole separate thing.
That was in Australia. I went to visit the bananas in pyjamas.
You met the bananas in pyjamas?
Yeah.
Are they life-size?
I think it was Channel 9 in Australia.
I didn't even know they were Australian.
Oh,
the
yeah,
bananas in
Australian,
pyjamas.
Yeah.
Well, I never. I mean, the Wiggles are Australian. I met the Wiggles, but I've never met bananas in pyjamas.
Yeah.
Are they life-size
They are life-size.
bananas?
The pyjamas are, the bananas aren't.
Anyway, let's delve into the news. See you later, Paul. Thank you. The top story this morning is the Chancellor has accused her critics of misogyny. And misogyny is what?
A dislike of women because they're women.
Mm-hmm.
It's as simple as that.
OK, well, that's after concerns were raised about tomorrow's budget, which is expected to raise 30 billion quid in tax. And a defiant message before the Commons, Rachel Reeves insisted she would be the Chancellor in 2 years' time.
Well, meanwhile, there's reports that backbenchers are planning to oust the Prime Minister next year, replacing Sir Keir Starmer with the Health Secretary, Wes Streeting.
Let's speak to Deputy Editor at Spiked, that's Fraser Myers, about this. It doesn't fill you full of confidence, does it, for what's about to come?
Not exactly. I mean, if she's already accusing her critics of misogyny, I mean, at the risk of mansplaining to her, really the reason she is unpopular, really the reason there is so much trepidation about this budget is because of her performance so far. She has broken so many of her promises. Last year, she said that would be the last tax-rising budget, that would set the agenda for the Parliament to come, and now she's coming back for more taxes, with a smorgasbord of taxes, although we don't know the exact details on that. It's also just because of her performance more generally. Again, she promised that this government would have a laser-like focus on growth. Growth was 0.1% in the last quarter. The Office for Budget Responsibility, now their predictions are usually wrong, but Rachel Reeves sets a lot of store by them. They have downgraded their forecast for growth for the next 5 years. So clearly, if people are angry at Rachel Reeves, polling suggests she's the most unpopular Chancellor since the 1970s. There are very good reasons for that, and that has absolutely nothing to do with her sex.
She says she's shocked at the level of misogyny that still exists in public life. Do you think that's right?
I don't think that's right. I mean, if you look at how there have been 3 female prime ministers, I think we're on our 4th or 5th female Home Secretary, 3rd female Foreign Secretary. It is unusual, admittedly, that it's taken this long to have a first female Chancellor. But everyone in Britain is perfectly comfortable with having women in high-ranking places, and we don't judge them as women. And if you just look at some of her predecessors, the way that they were put through the ringer in the past, poor old Kwasi Kwarteng, who lasted, I think, about 38 days. You know, he was, of course, made a mockery of constantly. George Osborne, I think quite deservedly, would be booed in public when he made appearances. So she's not unique in facing scrutiny and in facing harsh criticism, and I don't think being a woman has anything to do with that. And also, she dishes it out just as much. So there was a recent encounter with a local businessman in Scotland, and he was complaining, I think quite justifiably, that the lack of North Sea drilling, or the taxes on North Sea drilling, are bad for the Scottish economy. And she snapped at him and said, "Speak to me with respect. I'm the Chancellor of the Exchequer." And you think, well, you know, if you dish it out, you should be able to take it, I think. She can be just as condescending as she claims that her critics are.
What are we to make of her addressing the Parliamentary Labour Party yesterday? Because it was personal, wasn't it? And the personal nature of that intervention just, 48 hours out from the budget? I mean, it's indicative, isn't it, of how high the stakes are?
The stakes are absolutely enormous. I mean, we can talk a lot about the stakes for the UK economy and how the bond markets will react, but also the other factor here is the Parliamentary Labour Party. How will they wear this budget? Already her plans for welfare reform have had to be scrapped in order to appease the Labour backbenchers. That has in turn led to her to have to scrabble to find more taxes. And we know, Keir Starmer's position is really not very secure, with the challenge coming potentially from Wes Streeting, his widespread unpopularity in the country. And I would expect if Starmer goes, Rachel Reeves would have to go too, because the two come as a pair. They're seen as part of the same project.
And they seem to be equally as unpopular.
I think that's right, and justifiably so, because they're both equally as visionless, equally as directionless. I couldn't tell you what they stand for, what they believe in, what they really got into politics to achieve, other than to simply be in the position that they're in. You know, they'd quite like to be Chancellor or quite like to be Prime Minister.
And, their grip and their influence extends to, for instance, we're going to go to Northern Ireland now, Fraser, so thank you for the moment.
Thanks, Fraser.
And we're going to go to Dougie Beattie, who's there this morning, and we're going to talk about how the budget could impact people there, and looking at, it will impact Scotland, it will impact Wales, Northern Ireland in quite a lot of debt. And the thing is, Dougie, that they've got a big data breach payout due to the police, and it's, when's that going to be paid off? They haven't got money to do that. There's no money in the budget to compensate the officers affected by this. So many things where we owe money, and there doesn't seem to be much chance of getting it back because, basically so few people live in Northern Ireland.
Well, that's correct. There's only about 2 million of us here, and we get an £18 billion block grant every year. 70% of our jobs in Northern Ireland are either in the public sector or directly linked to the public sector. And Northern Ireland's politicians here have managed to run up a £400 million black hole, and that doesn't include the 120 million that will look after that data breach that you talked about. But of course, each region of the UK, Scotland, Wales, Northern Ireland and England, have their own almost devolved governments, and that block grant is dished out amongst them by the Barnett consequentials. But every day taxes will be in the budget. That's national insurance, tax on goods, including wine, alcohol, fuel, etc. That all hits us very, very hard. And last year's budget, with the national insurance tax hike, really hit the high street quite hard. And I managed to speak to Glenn Roberts earlier on in the week, and here's what he had to say.
Well, we need a budget that supports growth, that addresses the cost of doing business crisis that we have in the UK. We've seen that the figures for growth are literally non-existent, and that bows out what we said about last year's national insurance increase. It clobbered the business community. It particularly clobbered our small independent retailers and, you know, I think stunted growth on the high street.
That was Glyn Roberts of Retail NI, and of course he looks after the high street and represents a lot of those people there. But on the other side of that, we have businesses opening and new businesses, and I managed to catch up with Neil Sands. He's an entrepreneur that is very, very successful, one of Ireland's most successful lads at buying up companies and turning them around. Here's what he had to say about education and how important that is in this budget.
Particularly those folks that are, you know, maybe best well versed with the machinery that we have here. The new machinery that's coming out is much more digital, and it does require those digital skills to come along with it.
So what he's talking about there is making two jobs do one. So in other words, those lower skilled workers, educating them, bringing them up, it will help them inside those factories and it will keep them there. But of course it is keeping them there because the welfare, it's almost insane that we look at some of the welfare that is given out in right across the UK. It doesn't pay you to work. 1 in 3 cars in Northern Ireland are DLA cars. But what we do know in this budget is that there's 16 million set aside to deal with the framework document, and that 16 million will not go directly to companies. It will go to bodies to help people trade with Northern Ireland and understand the processes that they must go through in order to get through the framework document. That deal that was put in place by the Tory government that has caused so many taxes to go on to goods coming inside this part of the UK.
OK, Jiggy Beattie there for us at Stormont. Thank you very much.
Let's get your weather update. I'm just noticing how dark it is in Northern Ireland today. It'll be a wee bit darker for longer there than it would be the further south you go. But what's the weather going to be like? Annie Shuttleworth with the details.
Expect warm spells with the odd rude interruption. Boxed Boilers sponsors the weather on GB News.
Good morning. Welcome to your latest GB News weather update from the Met Office. It's going to be the sunniest day of the week for many of us today, but it is feeling colder out there and there is a frost expected more widely this evening. We've got a northerly wind across the UK, particularly across coastal areas, and this will drag in a few showers to eastern areas of Scotland, England, as well as southwestern areas of Wales, down in the southwest of England too, down into Cornwall. But for many of us, it will be a dry and clear day. Plenty of sunshine out there, but with that northerly wind it will feel chillier. Temperatures in the single figures wherever you are, and particularly if you're exposed to that onshore wind off the North Sea, it's going to be feeling colder than it has done over the past few days. And now into this evening, there's very little in the way of change. Another dry evening to come for many areas. A few showers though across the far north and west of Scotland. We've got a weather front approaching from the north and west that will take centre stage throughout Wednesday afternoon. Across Northern Ireland we'll start to see some cloud thicken, but further inland across Scotland, northern areas of England, we'll start to see that frost setting in this evening quite early on, I think. And a few showers could come further inland across eastern areas of England this evening. But for many of us, it is going to be a dry night. And as I said, the frost will really start to set in. You can see those blues across the map. That's showing we're expecting temperatures to dip below 0. So it's quite a widespread affair by Wednesday morning away from the far southeast of England. So we could be down as low as -6 or -7 across parts of Scotland, -5 across rural areas of Wales and parts of the Midlands. As I said, on Wednesday, we've got a weather front on the way. Now that will push into parts of Northern Ireland, much of western Scotland throughout Wednesday morning. The rain's not going to be particularly heavy, but there's going to be a lot of cloud with it. And with this rain and cloud, temperatures will be on the rise. You can see the wind direction starting to shift to more of a southwesterly, so up to 11 or 10 degrees. But in the south and east, although it's dry, it's still going to be a chilly one. Bye-bye.
Expect warm spells with the odd rude interruption. Boxed Boilers sponsors the weather on GB News.
Now, do stay with us. Still to come, when was the last time Or have you ever switched your bank accounts? Have you ever switched your bank accounts?
No, couldn't be bothered.
No, I couldn't be bothered either. Sounds like a lot of faff. Apparently it's simpler than you think, though. And some people are even making a hobby out of it, making lots of money. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, so you get paid 100 quid, 200 quid, 300 quid for doing that.
Switch.
And it's nothing really, if the banks make you the offer, there's nothing they can do to take it away again.
Yeah, exactly. So
So
people are just switching all the time, making lots of money.
If you've done that, how much have you actually made, you know, in your time? Would you recommend it or not? Get in touch, have your say. We'll be happy to reflect the ideas. We'll protect your name, keep you from it being spoilt for you in the future again, if that's what you want to do. But we're talking about that next.
Bold.
They are under no illusion.
Ray.
Are you a human trafficker?
Boundless. I've had enough of the nonsense, and I'm not afraid to say it.
Don't get us on the BBC.
Every weeknight, I tear through the headlines.
The smell of gasoline.
Should we be worried about it?
From Westminster madness to cultural war chaos.
What I'm going to do now is they are throwing things out the car as we speak.
Get ready, Britain. Here we go. Patrick Christie's tonight, weeknights from 9 p.m, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Hi, I'm Michelle Dewberry, and my show is your opportunity to cut through all the noise and dive in headfirst to some robust debates. Ideas clash.
Situation,
No,
isn't it?
no,
Because the failure is...
You're
the failure is...
deliberately avoiding my point. Nothing's held back.
And if you think this is the end of it, wait for more.
And we do not shy away from the difficult stuff. Sometimes I want to shake people and say, if only you understood. So join me on Jubes & Co. weeknights at 6 p.m, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Westminster's full of talk, but out here, it's the real world.
Am I allowed to talk now?
No, that's it. This is where it matters, real people and real lives. That's what politics is all about.
In fact, this Trump made a good start. No.
Straight answers, no spin, and just a couple of pints.
How many fingers have I got up?
About 10. So join me for Lee Anderson's Real World every Friday at 7 p.m, only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
From the school run to the home run, watch a new show for all of Britain.
So he can say whatever he wants.
A straight talking show where all voices are heard.
And, you know, when are we going to stop talking about smashing the gangs and actually do it?
With the stories that matter from every part of our country.
There's a bit of a crash landing there for your Chancellor.
Bold, fearless and standing up for you. That's me, Martin Daubney, 3 p.m. till 6 p.m, weekdays, here only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Britain's economy is at a crossroads.
And this budget day, every decision counts.
From taxes and rent to the cost of living.
Whatever the outcome, the GB News family will be there.
With expert analysis breaking down what it means for you.
Budget day all day tomorrow.
Only here on the People's Channel.
Britain's news channel.
No matter the state it's in, this is our nation. Join me, Jacob Rees-Mogg, for a genuine, honest discussion on where we have been, where we are going, and where we are with the people who set the direction. Tune in to State of the Nation every Monday to Thursday, 8 to 9 o'clock. Only on GB News.
Britain deserves a newsroom that puts the facts and your voice first.
Well, and that's what you get on GB News. Lively debates, lively conversation.
And we're not afraid to hold power to account.
And each other. So join me, Andrew Pierce.
And me, Miriam Gates, for Britain's Newsroom, weekdays from 9:30 on GB News.
Britain's economy is at a crossroads.
And this budget day, every decision counts.
From taxes and rent to the cost of living.
Whatever the outcome, the GB News family will be there.
With expert analysis breaking down what it means for you.
Budget day all day tomorrow.
Only here on the People's Channel.
Britain's news channel. Now, today is the 25th of November, which means...
1 month till Christmas.
1 month to the big day. And you've got an opportunity to enjoy it all on us. £40,000 in tax-free cash, £1,000 to spend your favourite supermarket on Christmas lunch. That's going to be a good lunch. And a GB News festive goodie bag, complete with baubles. Here are all the details that you need.
There's just 30 days until Christmas, and it's the final week to see how you can enjoy it on us. That's £30,000 in tax-free cash to make 2026 fantastic. A further £10,000 cash to spend on gifts for all the family, the tree and decorations. £1,000 in vouchers to buy a slap-up Christmas lunch at your favourite supermarket. And finally, a GB News Christmas goodie bag. Plus, we're going to get it all to you in time for the big day. For another chance to win, text WIN to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus one standard network rate message. Or text BONUS to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus one standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entries start at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge. Or post your name and number to GB17 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrance must be 18 or over. Lines close at 4 p.m. on the 28th of November. The winner may be contacted live on GB News, week commencing the 8th of December. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand. Good luck.
Now, here's a good story. Nothing so much to do with good luck as just how savvy you're going to be, because record numbers of shoppers are switching their bank before Christmas and they get cash as a result.
Yeah, more than 250,000 people have changed banks during the summer months.
Now, our GB News digital finance reporter, and that is Temi Lalea, has compiled the latest data, and this is exciting. So is this working for the banks? Would it work for you? Tell me what banks are doing this.
So there's several high street options right now for people who are looking to switch banks and get some extra cash. So Santander are actually offering £200 for those who can make the eligible switch within the next 60 days to their eligible account. So for this to actually happen, people will just need to deposit around £1,500 and then have 2 active direct debits with that account. So either, energy bills or council tax. And then once they do that, they should get the cash within 30 days.
But once you do that, are you then tied to that bank for the next 5 years or something?
No, you're not actually tied. They may have sort of clauses within their terms and conditions that say how long you're supposed to keep that bank, but usually you can switch if you wanted to, let's say in the next couple of months, to a different bank though.
And get another £200.
Yeah, it's a good way of making money, isn't it, if you just keep switching? I mean, Eamonn and I were talking about this earlier on, and we were just saying, well, we like the idea of making the cash, but it just sounds really complicated to switch everything over. Is that on you, or is that on the bank to do all of the admin, if you like?
Yeah, I think a lot of people do sort of hesitate to do this just because it seems complicated, but it's actually not. There's a dedicated service called the Current Account Switch Service, and this does it all for you. It's free. It takes about 7 days, and it's like once you sign up to the new bank, they take care of everything. So you don't need to move over your salary, your direct debits, your standing orders. They do it all for you.
Well, that's interesting, because I was going to ask you what sort of effort would be required to do all this, but you're basically saying we have the easy part of this deal.
We just sign up and they do it for us.
Yeah, you just tick the box that says Current Account Switch Service and they will take care of it for you, and then you get the free cash.
So Temi, you've been looking at all of the offers out there. What are the best ones that you've seen in terms of the high street banks?
Barclays are doing a really good deal. Customers can get up to £400.
Wow.
But that does depend on your income and how much you can invest. But there's £200, obviously Santander I mentioned before. NatWest are also doing £175 for those who can deposit £1,250. And that only needs to be in the bank account for about 24 hours, and then the cash can come to you. So I would say to anyone who is sort of looking to get some extra cash, just look at the terms and conditions. There's so many banks out there offering these deals, so it's important to do.
And is there a limit to how many times you can switch?
No, there's no limit. There might just be like a time frame as to how long you stay with a bank, and also the bank may not accept you if you've already made a switch, let's say within the last year, a year and a half. So it is important to look around, see what banks are offering the best deals for you, because they have all different terms and conditions. But you should be able to find one that will facilitate what you need.
And what about looking around quickly? Because here we are, we were saying it's a month before Christmas, Black Friday this week as well. How significant are those dates?
So a lot of these banks, they are subject to take these offers away when they feel comfortable. So it's important to act fast, especially with this week. Black Friday is coming up. so they might take deals away. So the quicker that people look around, it's better, just to make sure that they can actually secure this and get it just maybe before Christmas if they act fast, or
could buy a
even in
few
the New
gifts,
Year's.
couldn't it?
Yeah, cover
Or
your
even
Christmas
just
shopping, wouldn't it?
Yeah, cover it New Year, just to have a bit of extra cash. So it's important to be fast, because you never know when they'll take these away.
Okay, well, we'll take them away at the moment. We'll take
We
away
should
all
think
your
about
advice
that.
and your
Yeah.
information, and hopefully Temmie's given you something to think about that. But Temmie Lalea, thank you very much indeed. Lovely to talk
thank
to you.
you. Come back and see us soon.
Well, thank you.
Now, coming up at 8 o'clock, we're going to be speaking to the Shadow Secretary for Housing, Sir James Cleverly, so do stay tuned for that. But first, we're going to find out how Everton and Man U got on.
Do we have to?
I'm afraid it isn't great news for you, but Paul's going to be going into the details on that next.
Thank you so much for helping us to reach 8 million followers and subscribers across our social media channels. That's 8 million fearless Brits standing up for what really matters.
Good morning, this is the latest AI travel news from gbnews.com. The A92 northbound faces restrictions due to a broken down vehicle between Crossgates and Cowdenbeath. Motorists should proceed with caution. An accident on the M4 eastbound between junction 24 at Coldra and junction 23 at Rogier is causing delays. The A19 southbound between the junctions with the A690 and the A1018 in Sunderland is closed following a traffic collision. On the trains, the Elizabeth line faces disruption between Abbey Wood and London Paddington. The Great Western Railway also faces challenges between Portsmouth Harbour and Portsmouth and Southsea. For more travel news, go to gbnews.com.
Exciting news. Every Friday, my Patrick Christie's Tonight Show is going to have a twist to it. We're welcoming some special guests. You. That's right, on Fridays I'm going to be doing my show in front of a live studio audience, because this show is about you and what you have to say. It's going to be the same big debates, same big topics, same big opinions, but every Friday night at 9 p.m. you are invited to come on down to Patrick Christie's Tonight to be a part of the action. Only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Hi, I'm Michelle Dewberry, and my show is your opportunity to cut through all the noise and dive in headfirst to some robust debates. Ideas clash.
Situation,
No,
isn't it?
no,
'Cause the failure is-
you're
the failure is-
deliberately avoiding my point. Nothing's held back,
And if you think this is the end of it, wait for more.
and we do not shy away from the difficult stuff. Sometimes I want to shake people and say, if only you understood. So join me on Jubes & Co. weeknights at 6 p.m. only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Westminster, the ultimate clique. And you're fighting like rats in a sack. But here on the Camilla Tominey Show, we ask the questions the establishment media is too scared to ask. OK, let me ask you a straight question, because I know you're a straight-talking politician. Whether it's net zero, illegal immigration or law and order, nothing is off limits.
You had the
power then.
Yeah, as I
And
say,
now you've lost it. That's the Camilla Tominey Show, a politics show that's fearless. No, let me finish my question if you don't mind, because it is my show. Sundays at 9:30, only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
In the GB Newsroom, we bring you the news as it happens.
With our team of dedicated journalists across the UK, we're ready to keep you up to date with what's happening every half an hour, every single day. Bulletins here on GB News, the People's Channel,
Britain's news channel.
Here's Paul, and to give us the football results last night, but also as to why Idrissa Gueye was sent off in the Manchester United-Everton game. Tell us more, my friend.
Well, Everton beat Manchester United 1-0 at Old Trafford, which is not what we wanted to discuss this morning, Eamonn. But Idrissa Gueye hit Michael Keane. And if you're thinking, well, OK, it's a sending off, he hits another player. The weird thing is that they're both on the same side, which is a rare occurrence, which is something which is very bizarre.
So what did they fall out over?
It was about, well, ball comes up. It's one of these disagreements where I think Gueye had left the ball and Keane should have picked up. It's just one of these things that happens all the time in football where there's a disagreement between two players. But often you don't see that, and fans actually do like to see a bit of passion. A lot of people argue all the time about, well, should captains do this and should players do that? You want to see them rolling their sleeves up, giving everything for the team and showing as if they care, because we've seen a lot of football recently where it looks as if footballers aren't really bothered. They just go out and do their thing. But now that shows passion. But obviously he got sent off, which I still question whether it's right, whether someone should be red carded when they have a go at someone on their own team. Now, you think yes, don't you? You think it should still be a red card. But if you're not putting someone else in the other team in danger...
Yeah, but it's not a good look.
It's not a good look. So really, isn't it something that maybe should be dealt with internally? Because what you're doing is putting your own team then, even though you're arguing between the two of you, you're losing a player, although under 13 minutes.
If it gets physical, though, I think it has crossed a line.
Yeah.
And you should get reprimanded.
David Moyes, anyway, manager of Everton, this is what he thinks.
Well, I didn't think, when I saw it, I didn't think there was anything in it. I didn't think they were going to... I was a bit annoyed that they were challenging each other at the time. But I was also quite pleased. Quite pleased they were fighting each other, because it showed me that they cared, and it showed me that there was a bit of that, and that's what's in Everton. We're trying to demand higher standards from everybody. So I can't quite work it out if it was Keano's bad ball or if it was Ghana's bad ball to Keano, whatever they were annoyed with each other with.
See, he's trying to work it out. Whose bad ball it was.
No, he's trying to play it down.
I like what he said, though, Eamonn. I think what he said was fair, and I think it's not like he's defending them totally. It is slightly, but I think he probably believes that, because it's like old school, that maybe they did show a bit of passion and then they could sort it out with... And I'm sure they're all friends now. I'm sure everything's fine now. But there's always been footballers that do not get on. It happens in the workplace where people don't get on together, but they still work together. So, you know, it does happen, but they still have to manage to put a team out.
Still happens, and it did happen. Everton going on to win that 1-0. United playing a system that they can't play, and 85% possession just at home. Again, it's appalling.
I know you said the same thing. It's just when you watch it and you go, shoot, for crying out loud. Someone have a shot. There is nothing more frustrating in football when you see it passing. You know what I call it? It's like Chuckle Brothers football. To me, to you. To me, to you. Shoot! Don't to me, to you.
Too much that. Big games tonight?
Yeah, Man City by Leverkusen. That's tonight in the Champions League. So Man City are fourth, because obviously it's who goes on to the knockouts and who goes through to the playoffs. Chelsea are 12th, playing Barcelona. What a huge game that is at Stamford Bridge. Barcelona. Marseille against Newcastle. Chris Waddle, who always watches the show, morning Chris, played for Marseille and played for Newcastle. So we'll call it the Chris Waddle derby. Max Whitlock, I'm about to tell you about Max Whitlock.
Yeah, so Whitlock said in 2024 he's finished, he's retired.
Yeah, this is gymnast, our finest gymnast. I mean, how many gold medals? He's won a few gold medals in the Olympics. Anybody in that? 3, I think it is? 3?
Three, yeah.
Right? 3 gold medals? In the past.
He's the most successful British gymnast
He's
in
unbelievable,
history. Yeah.
Absolutely unbelievable. But there he is there. So the last Olympics, 2024, he came 4th, and it really... It stayed with him, it bothered him, and he said, I was sitting in a station with my family in a cafe soon after Paris, and I said to them, I'm not done, I can't finish like that. So now he's going to be 35 for the next Olympics. 3 gold medals, 3 World Championships, 4 European Championships, 4 Commonwealth Games. Isn't there a point where you've got to say, you know what?
Bow out gracefully.
Maybe I've done all of this because nobody wants to retire. So I don't know whether it's the right thing that he carries. But good luck to him.
I'm afraid we're going to have to retire you, my friend.
I don't blame you. I don't blame you.
We'll see you
We're not
again.
going to fight between us, though, are we, Eamonn, like Idrissa Gueye and...
Well, that'd be
Michael
interesting, wouldn't it? Me being a cripple and everything like that.
Oh, come on.
You taking advantage of me, but there we go. I'll ram you with my wheelchair.
There you go.
7:37 is the time. Paul, back at 8:20.
Now, do stick with us, still to come. Have you ever received a gift that you really didn't want? Well, Anna and David are going to be telling us which Christmas presents are the most unpopular this year. But first, if you're in search of some holiday sun, and who can blame you because it's so cold outside, here's the forecast across Europe.
Can't wait to get in that sea.
Lovely and warm.
Just like the feeling of having great travel insurance.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News Travel Destinations Forecast.
Hello, we've got some wet weather pushing through the Mediterranean this week. It should turn drier by the time we get to the weekend, however. In the Canary Islands, it's looking relatively dry, highs around 19 degrees. A little bit cooler towards Lisbon, 11 or 12 degrees. Now, here's that wet weather I mentioned. It's moving across parts of Italy, Slovenia, as well as Croatia and into Greece later on this week. But parts of Italy, as well as Croatia, should get drier by Friday or Saturday, with temperatures remaining a little below average. Bye-bye.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News Travel Destinations Forecast.
Britain was once the envy of the world. But look around. A nation that no longer knows what it is or where it's going. A country that's broken. How do we fix Britain? How do we bring it back? Friday night with Matt Goodwin at 8 p.m. only on GB News.
This is GB News, Britain's news channel.
Feet earlier this year as part of the first group to trek the same route as Lawrence of Arabia.
A former Special Forces officer, Howard Leedham, followed in Lawrence's footsteps across Saudi Arabia and Jordan in a 25-day journey. And I'm very happy to say he joins us now. Howard, thank you very much for coming to see us.
Thank you for having me on.
Now, talk us about what you're putting on, having completed that remarkable trek.
Well, we did the trek in January and February, and I was odd enough to lead a team of Special Forces Club members to do the entire route that Lawrence did in 1917. 685 miles, 1,100 kilometres, took us 25 days. We started off with 5 riders, 4 riders made it, and the last 9 days we spent in Jordan. And one of the things that in Saudi, we would basically follow Lawrence's route from water to water and go to the same wells that he had gone, because that's what they had to do, as they worked their way around the Nefed Desert. And then, obviously, when they came in towards Aqaba, because the guns in Aqaba all faced towards the sea, yeah. so they had to cross the uncrossable desert to get into the back of Aqaba. And when you come into Jordan, what strikes you is, because of the topography and because of the way that the history is so well recorded in that area, is that you can basically follow almost a precise route that he followed, and basically sleep in the same places that he slept. So you can really feel what they were doing and how they tactically moved down in order to take the port of Aqaba.
GB News, the People's Channel.
No matter the state it's in, this is our nation. Join me, Jacob Rees-Mogg, for a genuine, honest discussion on where we have been, where we are going, and where we are with the people who set the direction. Tune in to State of the Nation every Monday to Thursday, 8 to 9 o'clock. Only on GB News.
Britain deserves a newsroom that puts the facts and your voice first.
Well, and that's what you get on GB News. Lively debates, lively conversation.
And we're not afraid to hold power to account.
And each other. So join me, Andrew Pierce.
And me, Miriam Gates, for Britain's Newsroom, weekdays from 9:30 on GB News.
Welcome back. We're going through the papers in the company of Anna Firth and David Wooding. Morning, you two.
Morning.
Anna, let's have a look at President Trump and President Zelensky, shall we? Crunch talks on this peace plan.
Yes, I mean, you know, let's hope that we do finally get to peace. So this is a 19-point peace plan, and President Trump's top officials are working on it. President Zelensky's top officials are working on it. It's come in response to a 28-point peace plan from Russia that was roundly rejected by Zelensky. But the sticking point is the Donbass. Russia are saying that they want the whole of the Donbass, which, as we all know, is very rich in minerals and mines. And of course, they've taken by force a good part of it, but they're actually asking for parts of it that they haven't even invaded and occupied. And Zelensky, quite reasonably, is saying, no, we're not going to give up our territory, particularly not parts that you haven't actually taken. So I mean, is Trump going to get this? Is Zelensky going to get this through his parliament? Is Trump going to get Zelensky to actually finally agree with this? Got to laugh and say Trump was a bit off when he said he was going to solve this war. He said there'll be peace within a day, didn't he?
Yeah, 24 hours.
24 hours.
You do fear it's all being driven by President Trump's desire to be a peacemaker.
He wants to be a peacemaker by Thanksgiving.
He does. He does.
Thursday, yeah.
And we should all give thanks if he does it. But it looks a long way off yet. But the problem is the negotiations have been done between the US and Putin to start with, and then they've come up with this plan which is totally unacceptable to Europe and to Ukraine. And now this plan which has been done with Zelensky, Russia are saying this is totally unacceptable to us. So there's still quite a bit of a way to go. But President Trump says he's hopeful, so let's keep our
What I would say is that Trump is sticking with it, isn't he? You know, I think he is a deal doer. And he does seem to be determined. And, let's hope that we can actually
But we want peace rather than something which delays the war.
And we want long-lasting peace
yes,
as well.
exactly.
I mean, you don't want a situation where Putin comes back for more.
So it's got to be backed up by a military guarantee from the US. That's the key to it.
David, should we talk about Greta Thunberg?
Yes.
What's she doing in Venice? What's she doing in Venice?
Well, she's gone to Venice and she's been banned because her and a bunch of people with her, I think about 35 of them, put green dye into the Grand Canal as part of a protest. We sometimes forget what she's protesting against. She's protesting against the climate emergency, as they call it. And she's also been banned from Venice for 48 hours. To be honest, I'm getting a little bit tired of seeing her turning up at every sort of event around the world. For somebody who's keen on saving the planet, she does a lot of flying. When I was 22, I was trying to...
Has she flown there?
Well, I don't know how she gets there. She wouldn't have gone on one of these...
Probably on a gondola.
Gondola, I would have thought.
Probably was on a gondola.
Yeah. But anyway, she certainly seems to get around a lot and do a lot of protesting for a 22-year-old.
The thing I'm completely fed up with all of these green movements is it is so disrespectful to other people's cities to turn up and put a fluid into the watercourse. Now, she says, or it says in the paper, that it's not toxic in any way. But first of all, how do we know that? And secondly, what example is it setting? Because she may not have put a toxic fluid into the water, but the next people who come along and decide that they can also pour things into the watercourse may well disrupt the ecosystem. I remember walking down towards Parliament, past the Department for Environment, and one of the protests had thrown soup. I think it was Extinction Rebellion, but it may have been a different one. They'd thrown cartons of soup all over a statue at the front of the building. I thought, this is just so...
Yeah. I think it's got to the stage now where it's being counterproductive because it makes people feel angry about their cause when in fact they should be trying to win hearts and minds over to their cause. So if I were them, I'd try to do something that appeals to people rather than angers them.
Yeah.
David, tell us about the University of Essex and trigger warnings.
Yes, this is... again, we hear a lot about this. I don't know whether you call it wokeness or what, but the University of Essex has put trigger warnings on some of the work taken by students. But, ironically, it's about free speech. There's a course on free speech. And there's trigger warnings on some of the works they have to read, like an Israeli scholar called Joseph Ratz and an American academic, Joshua Cohen, warning that some of the language in there covers issues that might be distressing. But also, in the BA English Literature, there's content alerts on Hamlet by Shakespeare, Clockwork Orange, 1984. I mean, these are standard works. I mean,
and we should know what to expect.
Yeah, I mean, and if you're studying, if you've got a brain that's big enough to go to university, you'd think you'd have the balance of mental assessment of what a work of art means. I mean, some things in art are shocking, and it's meant to shock. We're meant to be shocked, whether it's violent music, violent films, or books with violent language. That is part and
We're trying to get a
parcel of the art.
response from the University of Essex. We've contacted them, but they haven't got back to us.
It's absolutely ridiculous. When you think that in secondary school you were studying Lord of the Flies, Macbeth.
That was
trigger warnings on those now, Anna.
Yeah, well, War of the Worlds is in this list as well, because there's a pandemic in the War of the Worlds. Well, we've all just lived through a pandemic, so we all know what it's
when we
about.
were going through school, we were allowed to study all of these texts. We learnt from all of these texts. We discussed all of these texts, and now university students are not even allowed to be looking at them. I mean, the world's gone mad.
I can tell you one personal trigger warning story. Is my wife told me that she was doing Women in Love when she was, or was it Lady Chatterley's Love, or one of those books, and her father saw the book at home and went berserk and went and complained to the school because she was reading it.
Anna, it's Black Friday this week, heading to Christmas, only a month to go. What's your advice for a happy Christmas?
So, well, there's a very interesting little story on page 3 of the Mail today, which says that you must avoid giving people self-help gifts. A study's been done in America. Over 1,000 people have been tested, and those that were given Get Lean tea didn't like it. Those who were Get Lean tea. I've never heard of Get Lean tea, but actually I would love to have that as a present.
You don't need it, Anna. Silly.
That sounds good to me. Those who got Moroccan tea rated it. Those who got a calendar, Do You Know, trivia, loved it. But those who got a Help Your Communication Skills calendar didn't like it. So in other words, people don't like it when there's an implied criticism. I mean, it is a bit passive-aggressive, isn't it, to give somebody, you know, a weight loss or an exercise class.
Or a gym membership.
Yes. So those are the ones to avoid. There's my advice for you.
You can pay my gym membership fees if you want. I'm happy with that.
Membership being paid for. No, I just don't think you can go wrong if you're buying for the lady in life a nice candle. Am I right, Anna?
That is a very good idea, but not a £64 one from Meghan's website. You don't need to spend £64.
Is that how much they are on her website?
£64, ridiculous.
Well, I hear the toxins from candles are horrendous, and they're very bad things to buy. They're not things you should have in your house at all.
Oh, so we can't even enjoy a candle now.
Pensions. Now, I've never really understood pensions, but David, civil servants are online for taxpayer-funded pension pots. And here's the interesting thing here. The pension pot is worth an average £1.4 million. Now, I don't know how that is, because I thought there was a maximum limit of £1 million that you could... You probably don't know this.
Yeah, then you get taxed on it. But you see, the civil...
No, you're just not allowed. You can't... The pot can't be more than £1 million.
Better stop putting money in a pension then, haven't we? Yeah. I think people are getting worrying about putting money in pensions, but the civil servants seem to have these gold-plated pensions. And as you rightly say, the average is 1.4 million. Sir Chris Wormold, who's the head civil servant, he's got £2.5 million in his. That's an enormous amount of money. That means when he retires, his pension will be £122,500 a year.
Oh, that's very nice.
I mean, that is staggering.
That's not a worry in your life ever again.
No, at the time when we're all being asked to dig deeper into our salaries, to pay more taxes, and to pay for we're paying for benefits. Don't forget, it's also paying for these civil servants to get their pensions.
I totally agree with you on this, David. I think this is absolutely appalling, because the average UK pension pot for 55 and over in this country is £107,000, not even a tenth of these Whitehall officials.
I wonder what that would pay you out per year.
It ranges from 7,000 to 10,000, so the average is only £8,000 a year.
So what are you going to do with £8,000 a year?
Well, not very much.
Yeah.
But the point is that the people who have managed to afford to get 100,000, that will have been paying out of their taxes for these big civil servants to have these enormous pensions. It's completely unfair, it's unsustainable, and the pensions has got to be looked at.
Well, Anna, this is the sort of thing that if politicians want to achieve practical things in life, they've got to look at this and say, we need to save money. Well, that's where we're going to save money, not robbing farmers, not robbing pensioners.
Or taking away people's heating allowance for old people.
It used to be that going into the public sector to work paid less, but you had a good pension and you retired a bit early. Now they've got both. They get paid better and they get a better pension, it seems.
That's why a lot of people are attracted to civil service.
And there are a lot of people working. If you go into the north of England, a lot more people work in the public service. You know, the NHS.
Well, same in Northern Ireland. They are our biggest employers.
Yeah. It's the same with doctors, I'm afraid. Doctors who want to be paid an awful lot at the beginning now, but yet get these massive pensions at the end. If they want to be paid more at the beginning, which you could argue in the private sector is more the deal, then you can't have the big pension at the end. You know, you take your choice.
Yeah. Anna, let's have a look at something totally different, shall we, in The Sun this morning. And this is about screen addicts.
Oh yes, yeah. I mean, this is absolutely right. Well, it's not right, but I'm sure this is true. Only 1 in 5 nursery-aged children get enough exercise, and when kids are very small, exercise is such an important part of learning. It's all about motor skills, hand-eye coordination, and of course learning to get along with your other children in the class. So that is storing up huge problems, you know, diabetes, obesity, as I say, not developing all the skills that you need. So that seems to me to be such an easy one to solve, because when my little boy, when he was small, went to an outdoor nursery.
Oh, that's meant to be very good for them.
Yeah, exactly. They're outdoor all day, but they dress up, they go into a hut for lunch, but so they are moving, they are playing, they're exploring.
Fresh air.
So it's not a hard one.
I think it's true that, you know, we try to give me the child, what's the phrase, give the child till he's 3 and I will give you the man, or something like that.
Jesuits.
Got to say bye, guys. Okay. Back after this.
Warm and cosy, with a chance of zero visibility. Boxed Boilers sponsors the weather on GB News.
Good morning. Welcome to your latest GB News weather update from the Met Office. It's going to be the sunniest day of the week for many of us today, but it is feeling colder out there, and there is a frost expected more widely this evening. We've got a northerly wind across the UK, particularly across coastal areas, and this will drag in a few showers to eastern areas of Scotland, England, as well as southwestern areas of Wales, down in the southwest of England too, down into Cornwall. But for many of us, it will be a dry and clear day. Plenty of sunshine out there, but with that northerly wind, it will feel chillier. Temperatures in the single figures wherever you are, and particularly if you're exposed to that onshore wind off the North Sea, it's going to be feeling colder than it has done over the past few days. And now into this evening, there's very little in the way of change. Another dry evening to come for many areas. A few showers, though, across the far north and west of Scotland. We've got a weather front approaching from the north and west that will take centre stage throughout Wednesday afternoon. Across Northern Ireland, we'll start to see some cloud thicken, but further inland across Scotland, northern areas of England, we'll start to see that frost setting in this evening quite early on, I think. And a few showers could come further inland across eastern areas of England this evening. But for many of us, it is going to be a dry night. And as I said, the frost will really start to set in. You can see those blues across the map. That's showing we're expecting temperatures to dip below 0. So it's quite a widespread affair by Wednesday morning away from the far southeast of England. So we could be down as low as -6 or -7 across parts of Scotland, -5 across rural areas of Wales and parts of the Midlands. As I said, on Wednesday, we've got a weather front on the way. Now, that will push into parts of Northern Ireland, much of western Scotland throughout Wednesday morning. The rain's not going to be particularly heavy, but there's going to be a lot of cloud with it. And with this rain and cloud, temperatures will be on the rise. You can see the wind direction starting to shift to more of a southwesterly, so up to 11 or 10 degrees. But in the south and east, although it's dry, it's still going to be a chilly one. Bye-bye.
Warm and cosy, with a chance of zero visibility. Boxed Boilers sponsors the weather on GB News.
Thank you, Britain, for making us the fastest growing news website in the UK. We're truly humbled, and we couldn't have done it without you.
Good morning. This is the latest AI travel news from gbnews.com. The M4 eastbound between junctions 24 and 23 has disruptions due to an accident, clearing by 9:50. In Bedfordshire, the A421 southbound collision causes 20-minute delays, normal by 9:27. In West Sussex, an overturned vehicle on M23 northbound results in 30-minute delays, resolving by 9:50. And on the trains, Great Western Railway reports disruptions between Portsmouth Harbour and Portsmouth and Southsea, while Northern buses replace trains between Corkickle and Whitehaven. For more travel news, go to gbnews.com.
It's the final week to see how you can enjoy Christmas on us. First, we'll give you an incredible £30,000 in tax-free cash. Then we'll give you a further £10,000 cash to spend on all your Christmas presents, even the tree. Christmas lunch, that's on us too, with £1,000 in shopping vouchers to spend at your favourite supermarket. Finally, a GB News Christmas goodie bag. For another chance to win, text WIN to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus one standard network rate message. Or text BONUS to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus one standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entries start at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge. Or post your name and number to GB17 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrance must be 18 or over. Lines close at 4 p.m. on the 28th of November. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand. Good luck.
At GB News, we love to hear from you, our loyal community. So drop us a line at gbnews.com/yoursay. There you can talk to each other and also to the presenters live on air. gbnews.com/yoursay, because GB News is your channel, Britain's news channel.
Join me, Nana Akwe, for an informative, interactive news programme with a difference. It's fun.
No, he didn't say that, Dave.
I'm so surprised.
I think there's an element of truth to that.
Join me from 3 p.m. every weekend, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
In the GB Newsroom, we bring you the news as it happens.
With our team of dedicated journalists across the UK, we're ready to keep you up to date with what's happening every half an hour, every single day. Bulletins here on GB News, the People's Channel,
Britain's news channel.
Hello there, very good morning to you on this Tuesday morning. Headlines: the Chancellor goes on the offensive.
Rachel Reeves labels critics of her tax-raising budget as misogynists.
Well, as rumours circulate that Labour MPs are plotting to oust the Prime Minister and his top team next year, we're asking, could this be the end for Rachel Reeves? Could it be her last budget?
The Chancellor is set to increase universal credit payments in line with inflation. That's despite a record number of claimants. In about 20 minutes' time, we're debating if it's time to crack down on benefits and if the people claiming them are scroungers.
Donald Trump and Vladimir Zelensky are set to come face to face again. More crunch talks to iron out a peace deal. So is a resolution to the war in Ukraine finally on the horizon? That's the question.
The BBC is in turmoil over bias allegations, but the chairman says he's going nowhere. That's despite pressure from MPs.
Well, the UK's oldest dog organisation is having a rebrand. The Royal Kennel Club is holding a dog census to mark this and celebrate. Find out more 9:15 this morning.
In sport this morning, Everton beat Manchester United with 10 men after Idrissa Gueye got sent off for hitting his own teammate. Chelsea, Newcastle and Manchester City back in Champions League action tonight, and the draw's been made for the first round of the World Darts Championship.
Good morning. It's a cold and frosty start out there for some of us. Another cold night to come, but that will all change midweek. Find out all the details with me a little later on.
Hello there, very good morning to you. Coming up to 2 minutes past 8 o'clock. I'm Eamonn Holmes.
I'm Ellie Costello, and this is GB News Breakfast.
Also, just want to say as well as good morning to you and welcome to you if you're not only watching us, you're listening to us. So many more people saying they switch us on in the morning and they watch and listen throughout the rest of the day.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah, so thank you for that. So we're now joined by
the Shadow Secretary for Levelling Up, Housing and Communities, Sir James Cleverly. Very good to see you this morning, Mr. Cleverly. Can I start by asking you about the Chancellor, Rachel Reeves, who was speaking yesterday, hitting out at misogyny in public life. Do you think that critics of her and of her ability are misogynists?
Well, I think there is an issue with women in public life. We see this with sports personalities, we see this with politicians, and there is a level of aggression, often threats of sexual violence directed at women that men don't get. That said, I think there is plenty to criticise Rachel Reeves for. I think her appalling mismanagement of the last year's budget, of the tax system, of government in general, without having to go anywhere near discussing her sex or gender. So misogyny, these threats of sexual violence, completely inappropriate, but criticism of her for her ineptitude in her office, I think, is completely legitimate.
So you don't care if she's a man or a woman or anything else, just is she good or bad at what she's doing?
Yeah, I think in politics it is absolutely right that we criticise people for the decisions they make, the things that they do. I don't think it's legitimate to criticise person for basically their chromosomes. So I'm critical of her because she was completely dishonest in the lead up to the general election about their tax plans, that she has ramped up taxes, she is killing jobs, this constant briefing, U-turning, re-briefing, re-U-turning is crushing confidence in the British economy just at the time when we need it to be most active. These are the things she should be criticised for, not because she's a woman.
Can I ask you about this row that's erupting over these Reform UK badges? This is all about the Tory chairman, Kevin Hollinrake, for people who aren't familiar with this story. He seemingly likened the new Reform UK badge, which is a gold and black in colour, to that of a Nazi badge that was handed out to the first 100,000 people who joined Hitler's Nazi party. He shared a Wikipedia link to that page. Do you think that's appropriate action from the Tory chairman, Kevin Hollinrake? And is that really what the Tories think of Reform voters?
Well, Kevin was trying to make a point. That's not necessarily the way I would have made it, but the point that I think he is making is that the situation with Nathan Gill, the former Reform leader in Wales, who's now been imprisoned for corruption charges, having been bribed by Russia to promote pro-Moscow propaganda, is something that is worth highlighting. As I say, Kevin sought to do that in his own way. That's a decision that he made. But I think it is right, not that we criticise people who vote Reform. These are people who we need to win over and indeed often win back to voting conservative. But I think it is absolutely legitimate to ask some very, very serious questions about the motivation of some of the elected people within Reform, and also, of course, it is legitimate to criticise the things that they're saying about Ukraine, about Russia, and about other things as well.
James, what do you fear most from the impending budget tomorrow? What do you think is going to give you a headache when you come away from it?
Well, I think the problem that we're going to see is a whole load of stealth taxes. Rachel Reeves she said last year that this was a one-off big tax increases last year and she wouldn't have to come back for more. We now know she's going to come back for more. She's going to go after all kinds of people. She's going to go after savers. She's going to go after business people. She's going to go after property owners. She's going to go after people that are employed. She's going to go after people that employ other people. She's going to go after your investments. I suspect there are going to be these little stealth taxes all over the place, and those are going to have a really detrimental impact on the British economy just at the time when we should be competing most actively on the international stage.
Why will they have a detrimental effect on the economy? Why are they so bad for the overall picture?
Because they will deter investment, they will deter employment. We're now seeing employment rising because of the jobs tax that she imposed last year. I think we are going to see businesses defer business decisions or even scrap business decisions. We're going to see, as we've already seen, entrepreneurs, wealth creators, the people that create jobs leaving the country and taking their tax payments with them. Her actions have been completely counterproductive, and rather than learning from last year and reducing government expenditures so that she can reduce taxes, she is being bullied by her own backbenchers, and she is going to ramp up taxes on people that are already paying too much.
So, James, just before we let you go, can I ask you about the former Prime Minister, Lord Cameron, who very bravely has shared that he was diagnosed with prostate cancer last year. He is now, thankfully, cancer-free, but is calling for a national screening programme. You will know that prostate cancer is the most common cancer in men in this country. Do you support that call by him for a national screening programme for prostate cancer?
Yes, I do, and it should be targeted, and this is something that I've been campaigning on. I'm really proud of David, really glad that he's come forward on this. It's not easy to talk about your personal health, and I think he is absolutely right to do so. Men, particularly as they get older, particularly if you come from an ethnic minority background, have a much higher risk of prostate cancer. If it's caught early, it is very treatable, as we've seen with David. But what we need to do is make sure more people get treated earlier, and a targeted screening process is a very good way of making sure that happens. So I completely back David's call for this, and it's something that I've raised with the Health Secretary and some of the prostate cancer charities that I've been involved in. So I'm really proud of him. I'm very glad he's put this in the public domain.
Well, thanks for saying that, James Cleverly, and you keep in good health. Good talking to you this morning. We've got to leave it there. Thank you very much indeed.
Thank you, Sir James. Now, at 8:09, President Trump and President Zelensky are set to meet face-to-face as early as this week to hammer out the final details of a peace deal for Ukraine.
Unconfirmed reports that President Zelensky will travel to Washington, but with Russia rejecting the European-led plan, what's he travelling for? Is it all going to be for nothing? Or is there a genuine chance of peace on the horizon? Defence and Foreign Affairs editor at The Telegraph, Con Coughlin, joins us now. Con, what a complicated one this is going to be, and who gets what out of it, and why it would even tempt Ukraine to sign up to a peace deal after being invaded. What do you make of things, Con?
Well, good morning. I think the first thing I would say is that we don't know all the details on the plan. Clearly at the weekend, this 28-point plan was announced. It's now been reduced to a 19, 18-point plan following the talks in Geneva. And what seems to have been significant, and you say it's a very complex scenario, but when the Americans and the Ukrainians met in Geneva, they seem to have made progress, and that the Ukrainians think they're getting to a place where they could accept a deal. Now, the original deal looked very good to Russia, because the Russians seemed to be getting everything that they'd asked for. Since then, the Americans seem to have scaled down the offer. So there's lots for Trump and Zelensky to talk about. And we know historically they have an uneasy relationship. But I think the people to watch are the Russians and Vladimir Putin, because What people seem to forget in this diplomatic dance is that Russia's under a lot of pressure. The economy is struggling. They're not making the gains they want on the battlefield. And, without a peace deal, Putin could find himself in some trouble.
And Con, Putin hasn't met any of his war aims. I mean, he doesn't want
Correct.
Ukraine to be a sovereign country next door to Russia. He wants Ukraine to be a part
Correct.
of Russia. So if they're not on board, as we're hearing, with this European-led plan, then is all of this for nothing?
Well, that's a very good question, and it's something that will be in the back of Putin's mind. Putin needs something that he can show to the Russian people and say, look, for the million casualties we've suffered on the battlefield, for the devastation of the Russian economy, for the international isolation, we've got Ukraine, or we've got something approaching what we wanted in Ukraine. Ukraine's been neutered, it's not a threat. I'm not sure if it was a threat, but that's another matter. But in Putin's mind, these are the arguments he's made for pursuing his special military operation in Ukraine. So, he needs something. And he can see, just in the past few days, this slipping away from him. And we know that Trump has been very frustrated with Putin, since the meeting in Alaska in August, when he really thought he could get a breakthrough with Putin. And he's always prided himself on this special relationship with Putin, but nothing's happened. So, if I was in Moscow at the moment, I'd be very concerned at the prospect of Zelensky and Trump meeting, even though this is not going to be an easy meeting because, Trump's got his own way of doing things and is highly unpredictable, to say the least.
Well, Colin, thanks for laying that out for us, and we'll wait and see how how this week develops and what's going to happen. Thank you very much, Colin. Got to leave it there. Thank you.
Thanks, Con.
All the best.
Now, at 13 minutes past 8, let's get a check on the weather, shall we, with Annie Shuttleworth.
Expect warm spells with the odd rude interruption. Boxed Boilers sponsors the weather on GB News.
Good morning. Welcome to your latest GB News weather update from the Met Office. It's going to be the sunniest day of the week for many of us today, but it is feeling colder out there and there is a frost expected more widely this evening. We've got a northerly wind across the UK, particularly across coastal areas, and this will drag in a few showers to eastern areas of Scotland, England, as well as southwestern areas of Wales, down in the southwest of England too, down into Cornwall. But for many of us, it will be a dry and clear day. Plenty of sunshine out there, but with that northerly wind, it will feel chillier. Temperatures in the single figures wherever you are, and particularly if you're exposed to that onshore wind off the North Sea, it's going to be feeling colder than it has done over the past few days. And now into this evening, there's very little in the way of change. Another dry evening to come for many areas. A few showers, though, across the far north and west of Scotland. We've got a weather front approaching from the north and west that will take centre stage throughout Wednesday afternoon. Across Northern Ireland, we'll start to see some cloud thicken, but further inland across Scotland, northern areas of England, we'll start to see that frost setting in this evening quite early on, I think. And a few showers could come further inland across eastern areas of England this evening. But for many of us, it is going to be a dry night. And as I said, the frost will really start to set in. You can see those blues across the map. That's showing where we're expecting temperatures to dip below zero. So it's quite a widespread affair by Wednesday morning, away from the far southeast of England. So we could be down as low as -6 or -7 across parts of Scotland, -5 across rural areas of Wales and parts of the Midlands. As I said, on Wednesday, we've got a weather front on the way. Now, that will push into parts of Northern Ireland, much of Western Scotland throughout Wednesday morning. The rain's not going to be particularly heavy, but there's going to be a lot of cloud with it. And with this rain and cloud, temperatures will be on the rise. You can see the wind direction starting to shift to more of a southwesterly, so we're up to 11 or 10 degrees. But in the south and east, although it's dry, it's still going to be a chilly one. Bye-bye.
Expect warm spells with the odd rude interruption. Boxed Boilers sponsors the weather on GB News.
Now, do stay with us. Still to come at 9:15, we're going to be talking to the Royal Kennel Club, and there might be some furry friends joining us in an hour's time. So we're excited for that, aren't we?
That's nice thing there. And what will it mean for you? But first, we're debating if it's time to crack down on benefits and the people who claim them. And we're doing that next. Please don't go away.
Westminster, the ultimate clique. And you're fighting like rats in a sack. But here on the Camilla Tominey Show, we ask the questions the establishment media is too scared to ask. OK, let me ask you a straight question, because I know you're a straight-talking politician. Whether it's net zero, illegal immigration or law and order, nothing is off-limits. You had the power then.
Yeah, as I
and
say,
now you've lost it. That's the Camilla Tominey Show, a politics show that's fearless. No, let me finish my question if you don't mind, because it is my show. Sundays at 9:30, only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Britain's newsroom, weekday mornings from 9:30.
Flossie, how do you think your peers would react if, from now on, they were never, ever allowed to bring their phone into school?
Well, I think the big thing is really, I mean, I went to school yesterday after obviously doing BBC News, and surprisingly to me, all of my friends were saying, look, we completely agree with you, you're so totally doing the right thing. Obviously, it is a very sensitive topic. You know, obviously, I'm going to have people saying, stop what you're doing.
Don't take my phone away from me.
I would hate myself if I was in primary, secondary school. But realistically, the thing is, now I'm coming to realise I really wish I just didn't have a phone.
Yeah.
I am addicted to my phone now, I will admit that. I really wish I wasn't. So hopefully as well, if phones are banned in secondary schools, parents usually buy them for secondary school because everyone gets them. So hopefully that will stagger, you know, when parents buy their kids' phones, which may break, you know, the level of addiction.
Yeah.
Because I feel like if I didn't have a phone, I really wish I didn't, because, you know, I keep on saying to myself, where would I be now if I didn't have a phone?
You said that people are now talking to each other on the bus because your school has moved to a stricter ban.
So my school is now completely smartphone free on anywhere where the school has a duty of care. So. Yeah, it was really surprising to see kids, you know, talking and chatting rather than
normally
just
they would
being on
text
their
each other,
phones.
or they'd be on
Just staring at their phone.
Extraordinary, isn't it?
Well, I do hope you're very successful, because it's such an important campaign. Will, or Ewing and Flossie, thank you so much. Yeah.
Why can't they just take a stand? They've done it in Australia.
It might help with the
They've done it in
politics.
Australia.
GB News, the People's Channel.
Join me, Nana Akweer, for an informative, interactive news programme with a difference. It's fun.
No, he didn't say that, though.
I'm so surprised.
I think there's an element of truth to that.
Join me from 3 p.m. every weekend, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Britain's economy is at a crossroads.
And this budget day, every decision counts.
From taxes and rent to the cost of living.
Whatever the outcome, the GB News family will be there
with expert analysis breaking down what it means for you.
Budget day all day tomorrow.
Only here on the People's Channel.
Britain's news channel. Loads of you getting in touch on the budget. Pixie's been in touch this morning saying, I'm dreading the budget and I'm dreading more being given to benefits. You see lots of people hanging out of pubs, smoking or wandering around with cans during the day. Why aren't these people at the place of work during the daytime?
Tommy says benefits designed as a safety net has simply become a way of life. And Jack says he's 62 years of age. I turn off my pilot light so I can't put my heat on as I can't afford it. So that's what he's done. He's shut his boiler off and he can't afford his heat, and it's a cold time of year.
And what's even more heartbreaking about Jack's story is he's a veteran. So we've got veterans, you know, who put their life on the line for this country, who can't even afford to put the heating on in the winter.
Let us know your stories about that. There's also a brand new way to take part in the conversation by becoming a friend of GB News for free. Have a look at this.
Join the community and be part of our shows by becoming a friend of GB News. Get a direct line to join the conversations that you hear us talking about every day in our programmes by commenting on Your Say and voting in You Decide polls. Access opinion, analysis and behind-the-scenes videos as we share more from the stories that you see on TV and radio. Plus, watch our shows live and on catch-up anywhere, anytime. If you love our channel, become a friend of GB News for free by scanning the QR code or going to gbnews.com/friend. Don't just watch our programmes, come and be a part of them.
Now, just one day until the budget, and there's reports that universal credit is going to rise with inflation.
With the budget set to rise taxes reportedly, this morning we're asking, is it time for a crackdown for people who claim benefits, not just benefits, but maybe a bit too many benefits? We're joined by Head of Communications at the Adam Smith Institute, and that's Joanna Marchong and...
Political commentator Lisa Mackenzie. Very good morning to both of you. Joanna, let's start with you. Is it time that we crack down on the benefits bill and people who are claiming them?
Well, I think the simple answer is absolutely yes. Rachel Reeves has kind of created an economy where it's easier to claim benefits and not work than actually be employed. And we see this in a number of different ways. So we have 1 in 10 people claiming PIP now. We also have about 4 million people on universal credit. That's 50% rise since Starmer's been in government.
Lisa, what do you think?
Well, this is a much more complicated issue than I think any of you are making out. Yes, the welfare bill is rising, but out of those universal credit, people who are applying for that and receiving that, 40% of those are actually in work. So these are people who are already in work and they are not earning enough money and are being topped up by the government. Ultimately, what is happening there is actually the taxpayer is paying for underemployment and poor wages. So this is a far more complicated issue than we think. We have got 1.6 million people who are unemployed. There is something we could do there. But what I'm very worried about is, especially in the regions like where I live in Nottinghamshire, in the deindustrialised communities, we were deindustrialised 40 years ago and we have never recovered. The communities where I live and all over the northeast and all over the northwest, we've been deindustrialised. 40 years ago, the jobs went. No one did anything about that. And what I worry about now is we're looking at this benefits bill. Yes, it's ballooning. Yes, it's not good for working class people to not be working. But where are the jobs? Because I can't see those jobs. I'm a sociologist and I've been looking at employment for the last year, and I can't see where these real jobs are. There are Uber jobs, there are self-employed
delivery
jobs,
drivers, all sorts of things.
They're not real jobs.
I know what you're saying, Lisa. And Joanna, I just want to say, I mean, this government was very big on saying we are going to create wealth. And, you know, I listen to what Lisa's saying there, and I totally agree with her. And I think, how are you going to create wealth? I mean, you can create jobs, but those jobs aren't creating wealth. They are part-time jobs. They're not real jobs, a lot of them.
So I think the first thing to say is that, yes, we have people claiming benefits and they are still employed in some capacity, but we still have to look at the numbers, and there are 4 million people on universal credit that have they are not required to look for jobs, and why would they? As we've said, there is common ground here where we are all agreeing that since Labour has come into power, she has brought in a number of measures, which means it is so difficult to find a job. Employers are uncertain. You have the Employment Rights Bill, which is just, you know, sending people away. Businesses are scared to employ people like graduates. We have 600,000 of those on universal credit straight out of university, and no employer will take a chance on them because it's so risky. And then also the employer's national insurance tax, which just makes it even more expensive for businesses in a time where nobody has money and taxes are going up on the wealthy and on entrepreneurs. That means of course, we're left in a situation where unemployment has reached its highest levels since COVID.
Lisa, last word to you.
I would say that unemployment is going to be the biggest story over the next couple of years. We've got 1.6 million now officially unemployed. I would say, if we're being more honest, we've got 6 million people unemployed or underemployed. And that's going to be the big story over the next couple of years.
Well, listen, really fascinating listening to what you do have to say. Joanna, Lisa, appreciate it. Thank you very much indeed. And Lisa just raising a point there when she talked about the deindustrialisation around the country and big employers not being replaced and whatever. But she hasn't even mentioned AI, which I think will take so many jobs and do so many things that we're used to real people doing. I think you just have to, you just have to make a phone call to a hotel or anywhere, and you just get an automated keyboard, or a switchboard answering you, and which is not a real person there doing that. But
it's being increasingly relied upon, isn't it?
Yeah, and
there will be jobs inevitably.
Robotisation and machines everywhere taking over jobs from people. So Lisa's saying that unemployment is going to be the big story over the next 6-10 years or so, and I think she could be absolutely right.
Yeah, it's certainly changing, isn't it? Let us know what you think on that one. gbnews.com/your say. Now, do stay with us. Don't go anywhere. We're going to find out how Luke Littler performed at the World Darts Championships. That's next with Paul.
But first, if you're travelling out today, here's how the roads are moving.
Good morning. This is the latest AI travel news from gbnews.com. The M74 southbound at Junction 4 near Glasgow is partially blocked due to a road incident. Approach with caution. Significant delays affect the M4 eastbound between Junction 24 at Coldra and Junction 23 at Rogier. The A19 southbound in Sunderland is congested, causing 10-minute delays. The A50 westbound in Derbyshire has a lane closure affecting travel. In West Sussex, the M23 northbound faces extended delays from an overturned vehicle. And on the trains, Great Western Railway and Eleanor are experiencing disruptions. For more travel news, go to gbnews.com.
Westminster's full of talk, but out here, it's the real world.
Am I allowed to talk now?
No, that's it. This is where it matters, real people and real lives. That's what politics is all about.
In fact, has Trump made a good start? No.
Straight answers, no spin, and just a couple of pints.
How many fingers have I got up? About 10.
So join me for Lee Anderson's Real World every Friday at 7 p.m, only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
You want to know what's really going on in the corridors of power? Labour don't know what to do with you half the time, and that makes you quite lethal in the chamber. Get behind the headlines with Chopper's Political Podcast. Join me, Christopher Hope, as I sit down with the great and the good of British politics. We'll see where this ruling takes us. These are the stories shaping our nation. Chopper's Political Podcast, available now on all platforms. Listen in and stay ahead.
Decisions made in Washington aren't just shaping America, they're shaping Britain too. From migration to global security, from crime to health. Whatever happens in the White House today
will be felt in your town or city tomorrow.
That's why The Late Show is live from Washington, D.C.
Cutting through the politics to show you what it all means for Britain.
The Late Show live every night at midnight.
Only on GB News,
Britain's news channel.
Bold. They are under no illusion.
Ray.
Are you a human trafficker?
Boundless. I've had enough of the nonsense, and I'm not afraid to say it.
Don't get this on the BBC.
Every weeknight, I tear through the headlines.
The smell of gasoline. Should we be worried about it?
From Westminster madness to cultural war chaos.
What I'm going to do now is they are throwing things out the car as we speak.
Get ready, Britain. Here we go. Patrick Christie tonight, weeknights from 9 p.m, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Britain's economy is at a crossroads.
And this budget day, every decision counts.
From taxes and rent to the cost of living.
Whatever the outcome, the GB News family will be there.
With expert analysis, breaking down what it means for you.
Budget day all day tomorrow.
Only here on the People's Channel.
Britain's news channel.
Join me, Nana Akweer, for an informative, interactive news programme with a difference. It's fun.
No, he didn't say that, though.
I'm so surprised.
I think there's an element of truth to that.
Join me from 3 p.m. every weekend, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
In the GB Newsroom, we bring you the news as it happens.
With our team of dedicated journalists across the UK,
we're ready to keep you up to date with what's happening every half an hour, every single day. Bulletins here on GB News,
the People's Channel,
Britain's news channel.
We reckon you're a month away from Christmas, and you know, hey, best present you could get on us. Have a look.
There's just 30 days until Christmas, and it's the final week to see how you can enjoy it on us. That's £30,000 in tax-free cash to make 2026 fantastic. A further £10,000 cash to spend on gifts for all the family, the tree and decorations. £1,000 in vouchers to buy a slap-up Christmas lunch at your favourite supermarket. And finally, a GB News Christmas goodie bag. Plus, we're going to get it all to you in time for the big day. For another chance to win, text WIN to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus one standard network rate message. Or text BONUS to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus one standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entries start at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge. Or post your name and number to GB17 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrance must be 18 or over. Lines close at 4 p.m. on the 28th of November. The winner may be contacted live on GB News, week commencing the 8th of December. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand. Good luck.
Today is the 25th of November, and I mentioned earlier that is 1 month before Christmas. Paul, it's also a significant date. Why?
Today, 25th of November. Well, normally we would do birthdays and anniversaries, but this and the 2 anniversaries, sporting anniversaries, of 2 of the greatest footballers ever to pass away. And I only just realised today that they both died on the same day in different years. No. First one, someone that meant a huge amount to you, I know, Eamonn, the late, great George Best, died this day 20... Can you believe it's 20 years ago?
Wow.
Well, it's incredible for me because I conducted his funeral.
I know.
And, you know...
This must have been the greatest honour.
Well, it was amazing.
That you probably could ever have.
I got a phone call from the family, and I thought it was to invite me to the funeral, and they said, George wasn't religious, and we're not religious, and we don't want this sort of being claimed by any particular side, and we want someone to conduct the funeral. And I'm going, right. And they went, without a religious bias on this, and I'm thinking, right. And they basically wanted me to be the priest.
So did you get wind of that's what they were trying to tell you, though?
No, not until they actually told it to me,
Right.
So, but what a tribute! I mean, to conduct and be the master of ceremonies for George Best.
I mean, I'll be honest. I've seen you do that. I've seen this, and I only watched it not long ago, and you did a fantastic job, really. And it must. Were you nervous?
Yes.
What? Because everybody, and also this is your hero.
Well, we were in Stormont, in Parliament buildings in Belfast. There were 100,000 people gathered there, down the driveway, out and about. The weather was the foulest you could imagine.
Yeah.
Really, I mean, the rain, I've never seen rain as heavy in my life. And the audience was just peppered with well-known names and faces and whatever. And just to be there paying tribute to a man who I adored as a child and wanted to be like. And you wanted to wear your socks like him and your kit like him, your shirt outside your shorts, your socks down around your ankles, you know, all those. And obviously nobody could play like him, but what an influence, what a guy.
What a player. See, the thing is, when people talk about footballers and they say, oh, yeah, well, it's like they'd say about Messi at the time, although he's won the World Cup now, you can't be seen as one of the greats because they never won a World Cup. It's nonsense because you could be the great, like George Best, the fact that he played for Northern Ireland, OK, the fact that he never played in a World Cup, it doesn't make any difference. He was one of the greatest there ever was.
He couldn't play in a World Cup because, you know, with the best will in the world, those around him wouldn't have been up to standard, a lot of them.
He could have done it on his own.
You know.
Done it on his own. But the other one, Diego Maradona, who's someone...
5 years.
I interviewed in front of 80,000, 100,000 people at Wembley, which was the most bizarre situation.
What was he like?
Well... It was strange because the thing is, I didn't do myself any favours because when he came out and walked out onto the pitch, I went to point because he had a Spurs scarf on and I pointed at the scarf. He put his hand out to shake hands. So I left him hanging. So it wasn't good. So he's gone like that. And then all I wanted to do was just to have him say, I am a Spurs fan. So I thought that'd be great. Can you imagine Diego Maradona saying that? And he had the Spurs scarf on. And Ozzy Ardiles was the translator. And bless him, Ozzy. So I've gone, because he didn't speak a word of English, Diego, and my Spanish, I'm saying, can you ask Diego, is he a Tottenham Hotspur fan? And Ozzy went, he came back. And then Ozzy went, Diego says, and I didn't quite work out understand what he said.
Yes.
So we still never knew. But, I mean, just to be in the presence. But the weird thing about him is this short man, large fella, you know, but you look and think, how could you be one of the greatest players
How
ever?
could he have raised himself higher
Do you know
than
what
Peter
I mean?
Shilton to handle the ball in the net? That's the question.
That's the hand.
Another
thing I do, but before we finish, I do want to mention the darts. Now the darts, the draw for the World Championships, which is now Ali Pali, of course, and everybody wants to go. Darts is so popular now, and it sells out. It is expensive, and it sells out in the summer, so you can't get tickets for love nor money. Luke Littler wants to be the first person to successfully defend the World Championship for the first time in 10 years. Gary Anderson, as you knew, Ellie was the last person that did it. 5 titles since then. First game is going against Lithuanian Darius Labanowski on December the 11th. But our own Christopher Hope, who, you know, he was in for you last week, and he was talking about, wasn't he, Ellie, the fact that he loves the darts and he is the Westminster darts champion, where MPs, journalists all play each other. Now,
nice trophy.
That's the Is it a great trophy?
Yeah.
It's better than the World Championship trophy.
The dartboard being the face of Big Ben.
I think it's excellent.
How did he get along?
But
do we know?
Well, he played yesterday. And the bad news is, I'm afraid, he has now lost the title. Greg Smith MP is the new Westminster champion. But there is Chopper in his pomp. I've never thought I'd say the phrase Chopper in his pomp, but there he is. There with Michael Bully Boy Smith there and Fallon Sherrick. Look, that's where he belongs. Politics is one thing, but the darts is where Christopher Hope belongs.
We're still very proud of you, Chopper.
We are very proud of him.
There's nothing he can't do, you know.
He's a very clever fella.
He is very clever.
Yeah,
good
very
at
good.
darts as well.
Yeah.
He'll get it back.
Yeah.
Next year.
You used to do the darts. You used to love you doing the darts.
I presented them for the BBC, for many years, and very great atmosphere. I mean, you would really love going to see them, Ellie.
Do you think?
Yes, of course.
Especially now. I mean,
you need to be
Ali
accompanied. You need to be we could go with her.
I think so.
Feel free to take me if you can get tickets.
We could hold up those signs with something written on, like, you know what?
Can we dress up for the darts?
Yeah.
We could go as chickens or something.
See, now you're excited about it, aren't you? Like the sound of that.
Yeah, we could do some fancy dress.
So if I get the ticket, I get something sorted, you will go.
Yeah.
Eamonn, you're up for it as well?
Oh, definitely, yeah.
And we'll go as farmyard animals or something.
Farmyard animals.
Maybe not, maybe
You know, it's just, it's a work in progress. It's a work in progress.
I think it'll be fun.
Thank you very much
See you
indeed.
tomorrow.
Still to come. Have you ever had an anxious pet? It turns out dog breeds like golden retrievers get just as anxious as humans.
Yeah, Anna Firth and David Wooding are going to be telling us more about that and much more next as they go through the papers with us. But first, if you're in search of some holiday sun, here's the forecast across Europe.
Dinner under the stars tonight?
That reminds me of our travel insurance.
You mean all clear skies?
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News Travel Destinations forecast.
Hello, we've got some wet weather pushing through the Mediterranean this week. It should turn drier by the time we get to the weekend, however. In the Canary Islands, it's looking relatively dry, highs around 19 degrees. A little bit cooler towards Lisbon, 11 or 12 degrees. Now, here's that wet weather I mentioned. It's moving across parts of Italy, Slovenia, as well as Croatia and into Greece later on this week. But parts of Italy, as well as Croatia, should get drier by Friday or Saturday, with temperatures remaining a little below average. Bye-bye.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News Travel Destinations forecast.
No matter the state it's in, this is our nation. Join me, Jacob Rees-Mogg, for a genuine, honest discussion on where we have been, where we are going, and where we are with the people who set the direction. Tune in to State of the Nation every Monday to Thursday, 8 to 9 o'clock. Only on GB News.
Britain's Newsroom. Weekday mornings from 9:30.
And all the way around it, there's going to be 1 million bricks with 1 million answered prayers, so people can take their smartphones, scan a prayer, and see how it was answered. I'm joined now by Richard Gamble. You're the founder of this project. Just tell us about it and what inspired you.
So the concept is we want to bring hope to people, and anyone coming will be able to point their phone at any one of the bricks, and their phone will light up and tell them the story of answered prayer. And God spoke to me about this 21 years ago, so it's been a roller coaster journey. So it's just a real thrill today that we can get started, and we want to proclaim to the nation that Jesus is alive, he listens, and he answers our prayers.
And how important do you think this is now in this day and age?
Well, I mean, one of the things that we're doing is we're not just collecting the answered prayers from now, but from all of history. So we want to preserve the Christian heritage of the nation and get schools and colleges to come and visit and find out all the stories of what God's done through our history. And I think particularly now that's more important than ever.
And you didn't want it to look like a religious monument as such, like Christ the Redeemer?
Yeah, when we ran a global competition with the Royal Institute of British Architects, we didn't want it to have the Christian iconography. We wanted to be a stunning structural design that basically encourages people to come along, have a look, and when they come they'll be able to see all these tiny bricks on it and realise how big a million is. And I hope as a piece of art that's going to inspire millions of people to think about praying.
GB News, the People's Channel.
Westminster, the ultimate clique. And you're fighting like rats in a sack. But here on the Camilla Tominey Show, we ask the questions the establishment media is too scared to ask. OK, let me ask you a straight question, because I know you're a straight-talking politician. Whether it's net zero, illegal immigration or law and order, nothing is off-limits.
You had the power then.
Yeah, as I
and
say,
now you've lost it.
That's the Camilla Tominey Show, a politics show that's fearless.
But no, let me finish my question if you don't mind, because it is my show.
Sundays at 9:30, only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Welcome back. We're going through the papers in the company of Anna Firth and David Wooding. David, let's talk about this Union flag exhibition that's been cancelled by Brighton's Labour Council.
Yes.
Telegraph today.
And it's a flag exhibition to reflect diversity, and of all places, Brighton and Hove, which is a pretty diverse community.
You think it'd be very
inclusive, yeah. And what it was is the artist Dr. Gil Mualem Doran had done this exhibition of flags, showing the Union flag as it is and different interpretations of it to show its diversity and how it unites the nation. It's been in the Tate Modern, it's been in Liverpool Museum, it's been shown in various places. Anyway, the Labour Council in Brighton and Hove have decided that it risks offending people, and those who are unable to read may get the wrong message from it, and therefore it's been banned, which seems ridiculous.
See, this goes back to what we were talking about in the last hour, which is trigger warnings and all that sort of thing. So if you're going to be offended by a Union Jack, don't come in here.
It is bossiness. It is small-minded councils bossing people around and telling them what they can look at and what they can't look at. And people are adults, and this was supposed to be celebrating diversity. You know, I mean, the only way to deal with this, I'm afraid, is to vote these councillors out at the next election.
Here's what the council said. The exhibition is political in nature and is, as a politically neutral space, not appropriate for display in the library. Customers who do not or cannot read the signage could see the flags as a statement by the library and therefore the council. There are concerns that displaying national flags could be taken out of their artistic context.
But displaying a national flag should not offend or scare people.
Absolutely not.
No, which is what they're concerned about.
It is totally bizarre.
Well, it can be complicated. I mean, in Northern Ireland, the Union Jack can scare a lot of people because it's no, but it can.
Really?
It's territorial, you know. So someone like me, but Union Jack flying means you can't go in there, or it did in the 70s. It means you can't. This is not your territory. This is not where you're welcome. So don't come
But
here.
then I would say, Eamonn, that's actually a really important part of recent history, recent social history, which actually the flags could teach people about. If you had the right, you know, the right up and you know the a good audio guide, that I think that's powerful.
It's complicated. I mean, you know, back home for the past couple of weeks, and you know, a number of people said to me, "Eamonn, sorry, don't watch you on GB News. Why do you not watch me on GB News? Because there's a Union Jack behind you every morning." Well, there's graphics and things that happen
title
with that.
sequences.
And people say that's a statement of religion and politics as opposed to anything else.
I think that's really sad because it is our national flag. It's supposed to be a symbol of unity, something that we can all get behind.
I do understand it in Northern Ireland. I do understand it in Northern Ireland. I completely understand that.
Yeah.
But what the irony here is that while Northern Ireland is coming together a bit more and solving all those problems, we over in mainland Britain are moving the opposite direction and making the flag a symbol.
You're absolutely right there, but it's less of an issue nowadays than it was when I was a teenager in the 70s. So you're absolutely right there. Now, here's a nice story, Anna. Or, well, I don't know if it is a nice story. Explain it to me or not. But you as a dog owner and me as a dog owner, we often talk about dogs, and we have some good news to report on testing for dogs.
We do.
Which we are both vehemently against. But tell me about this Royal Kennel Club and what they have discovered about dogs.
Yeah, but just quickly to give you a shout out, Eamonn, because your brilliant work that you've been doing against animal testing. 2 weeks ago when I was here, the Labour Party have finally unveiled a strategy. So well done to this channel, and let's hold their feet to the fire. But this is interesting, isn't it? The Royal Kennel Club is going to count the country's dogs and do the first, largest ever dog census to see what type of dogs people have got. I can see there could be some merit in that to find out, you know, where the dangerous dogs might be. But the interesting thing is that they are now opening the club for the first time to owners of all dogs, not just pedigree dogs.
Oh, I mean, that's interesting.
That is a massive change for the Kennel Club and presumably reflects declining membership, which so many clubs...
So they would now be including, say, things like mongrel dogs?
Well, presumably, because they are not pedigrees, are they? Now, whether they will be allowed to sort of, you know, exhibit, whether there'll be a special best mongrel at Crufts, that isn't clear. But they are now... They're basically saying that we value all dog owners, aren't they?
Yeah.
Not just pedigree. And I agree with that, because I've always had, not recently, but when I was a child, we always had rescue mongrel dogs. So, but the other thing on the same page is there's a sweet story about which dogs and which dog breeds get the most anxious. And there's a wonderful cartoon of a man and his retriever watching the budget. And they're both
feeling anxious.
They're both feeling anxious.
See, I would have thought it would have been a Dachshund. I think Dachshunds are quite anxious, aren't they?
And when I was young, it was red setters that were known to be neurotic dogs. But no, now the list is Jack Russells, retrievers. Apparently they have the same anxious genes as human beings. Frankly, I think dogs are anxious when they're not treated correctly. You know, if it's a dog that needs loads of exercise and it doesn't get it, it tends to become, you know, anxious, which is understandable.
Yeah.
But yeah, so you can treat if you don't want an anxious dog now, apparently you should possibly avoid these breeds,
Okay.
which is a shame.
And socialise them as well, I think that's...
Yes.
Yeah, incidentally, 9:15 this morning, we're going to speak to someone from the Royal Kennel Club.
CEO
about
of
what
the
they're
Royal
doing.
Kennel Club.
Yeah,
We're looking forward to that. That's
Good.
going to be great. David, let's have a look at Jimmy Cliff, shall we, who's died?
Yes. I had to look twice to remember this singer. He was the father of reggae music, in as much as he brought it from Jamaica to America and the UK. Now, he was in a film in 1972 called The Harder They Come, and the soundtrack of that was a big hit. He's died, unfortunately, aged 81, but some of these hits that have come back, for instance, Wonderful World, Beautiful People, I Can See Clearly Now was another one.
Oh, that's great.
And even the song You Can Get It If You Really Want was adopted by the Conservative Party in the 2009 conference.
Oh, wow, really?
So, yeah, this is... He may be... His numbers have been... He paved the way. He was a trailblazer for Bob Marley. His hits have been sung by UB40, Annie Lennox, Cher, big stars. So he basically normalised reggae music. So a lot of people will look back fondly on
that
his
song that Ellie sings so beautifully, I Can See Clearly. To me, we should do a rendition, Ellie. That to me, that's not reggae actually. But it obviously has its roots in reggae.
Yeah, and you can hear it once you know, if that makes sense.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think it's the beat that makes reggae, the unusual beat. And it did sound, back in the 1970s, it did sound completely different when you heard it.
Yeah.
Of course, you hear it so much
Yeah.
now, you don't notice it.
Oh, well, some great songs. So, yeah, lots of love sent to his family. I think his wife's been speaking about this.
Can I mention a story that has really really got me going this morning?
Oh, it's your fish disco, isn't it?
Honestly,
You've only 40 seconds.
I've got 40 seconds to say that it is ridiculous to be spending £700 million to save apparently one salmon a year in
Less
environment.
than one salmon, isn't it?
Less 0.083 salmon, 0.028 river trout. I mean, this is spending gone mad. We're paying for it. It shouldn't be happening. Quangos, I'm afraid, need to be looked at. Now, there's something she could do in the budget. She could scrap a few quangos.
And we wonder why we have no money.
Exactly.
There we go. Folks, thank you. It's been very enjoyable having your company this morning. Thank you both, David and Anna. Come back and see us again sometime.
Yeah, and let us know what you think on any of those stories that we've been discussing with David or Anna. gbnews.com/you'll say. Let's get a check now on the weather with Annie.
Warm and cosy, with a chance of zero visibility. Boxed Boilers sponsors the weather on GB News.
Good morning. Welcome to your latest GB News weather update from the Met Office. It's going to be the sunniest day of the week for many of us today, but it is feeling colder out there and there is a frost expected more widely this evening. We've got a northerly wind across the UK, particularly across coastal areas, and this will drag in a few showers to eastern areas of Scotland, England, as well as southwestern areas of Wales, down in the southwest of England too, down into Cornwall. But for many of us, it will be a dry and clear day. Plenty of sunshine out there, but with that northerly wind, it will feel chillier. Temperatures in the single figures wherever you are, and particularly if you're exposed to that onshore wind off the North Sea, it's going to be feeling colder than it has done over the past few days. And now into this evening, there's very little in the way of change. Another dry evening to come for many areas. A few showers, though, across the far north and west of Scotland. We've got a weather front approaching from the north and west that will take centre stage throughout Wednesday afternoon. Across Northern Ireland, we'll start to see some cloud thicken, but further inland across Scotland, northern areas of England, we'll start to see that frost setting in this evening quite early on, I think. And a few showers could come further inland across eastern areas of England this evening. But for many of us, it is going to be a dry night. And as I said, the frost will really start to set in. You can see those blues across the map. That's showing where we're expecting temperatures to dip below zero. So it's quite a widespread affair by Wednesday morning away from the far southeast of England. So we could be down as low as -6 or -7 across parts of of Scotland, -5 across rural areas of Wales and parts of the Midlands. As I said, on Wednesday, we've got a weather front on the way. Now, that will push into parts of Northern Ireland, much of western Scotland throughout Wednesday morning. The rain's not going to be particularly heavy, but there's going to be a lot of cloud with it. And with this rain and cloud, temperatures will be on the rise. You can see the wind direction starting to shift to more of a southwesterly, so up to 11 or 10 degrees. But in the south and east, although it's dry, it's still going to be a chilly one. Bye-bye.
Warm and cosy, with a chance of zero visibility. Boxed Boilers sponsors the weather on GB News.
Thank you, Britain, for helping us reach 8 million followers across social media. Thank you for making us a part of your daily life.
Good morning. This is the latest AI travel news from gbnews.com. The M74 southbound at Junction 4 is partially blocked due to an incident. On the M4 eastbound, an accident between junctions 24 Coldra and 23 Rogiet causes delays. In Durham, a broken down vehicle on the A19 southbound entry slip from the A181 closes a lane. In Blackburn with Darwin, a collision on the M65 westbound between junctions 6 and 5 results in 30-minute delays. Further issues on the A50 in Derbyshire with a single vehicle accident near the A6. And on the trains, Great Northern faces minor delays between Stevenage and Peterborough. For more travel news, go to gbnews.com.
It's the final week to see how you can enjoy Christmas on us. First, we'll give you an incredible £30,000 in tax-free cash. Then we'll give you a further £10,000 cash to spend on all your Christmas presents, even the tree. Christmas lunch, that's on us too, with £1,000 in shopping vouchers to spend at your favourite supermarket. Finally, a GB News Christmas goodie bag. For another chance to win, text WIN to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus one standard network rate message. Or text BONUS to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus one standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entries start at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge. Or post your name and number to GB17 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrance must be 18 or over. Lines close at 4 p.m. on the 28th of November. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand. Good luck.
Westminster's full of talk, but out here, it's the real world. Am I allowed to talk then? No, that's it. This is where it matters, real people and real lives. That's what politics is all about.
The fact is Trump made a good start. No.
Straight answers, no spin, and just a couple of pints.
How many fingers have I got up?
About 10. So join me for Lee Anderson's Real World every Friday at 7 p.m. only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
You want to know what's really going on in the corridors of power? Labour don't know what to do with you half the time, and that makes you quite lethal in the chamber. Get behind the headlines with Chopper's Political Podcast. Join me, Christopher Hope, as I sit down with the great and the good of British politics. We'll see where this ruling takes us. These are the stories shaping our nation. Chopper's Political Podcast, available now on all platforms. Listen in and stay ahead.
A really important thing about GB News, and it's brought something completely different to the landscape.
The mainstream is all about keeping the status quo as it is, ticking along quite nicely. They don't want to ask difficult questions.
GB News exists because there is a desperate need for fearless journalism that puts the people first.
GB News came on the scene as a disruptor, and it has always been a disruptor ever since.
Journalism in this country has been a cosy world full of groupthink until now.
Well, the reality is that most British journalists are afraid. That's not GB News.
Journalism is journalism at the end of the day, and we're not here to serve any masters. Our masters are our audience.
We're here to talk about things in a way that have never been broadcast on British Airways before.
Do not miss a moment on GB News.
The #1 news channel in the country.
And we continue to be the #1 news channel in the country, thanks to you. We're on radio, we're online, we're on your television, and the headlines this morning, the Chancellor goes on the offensive.
Rachel Reeves labels critics of her budget misogynists.
Earlier we spoke to the Shadow Housing Secretary, Sir James Cleverly.
I'm critical of her because she was completely dishonest in the lead up to the general election about their tax plans, that she has ramped up taxes, she is killing jobs, this constant briefing, U-turning, rebriefing, re-U-turning is crushing confidence in the British economy.
Well, the Chancellor says she wants to help people with the cost of living, but we know that taxes are going to go up tomorrow. I'll tell you how it might affect you shortly.
President Trump and President Zelensky are set to come face-to-face again for crunch talks. It's to iron out the peace deal.
BBC is in turmoil over bias allegations, with the chairman saying he's going nowhere despite pressure from MPs.
The UK's oldest dog organisation is having a rebrand. The Royal Kennel Club is holding a dog census to celebrate. We'll find out more in about 15 minutes' time.
Good morning. It's a cold and frosty start out there for some of us. Another cold night to come, but that will all change midweek. Find out all the details with me a little later on.
Looking forward to speaking to the Health Minister, Karen Smith, very shortly. It's just gone 9 o'clock. I'm Eamonn Holmes.
I'm Ellie Costello, and this is GB News Breakfast. Well, let's start with our top story this morning, which is the Chancellor, who has accused her critics of misogyny, referring to the dislike of women because they are women.
That's after concerns were raised about tomorrow's budget. It's expected to raise £30 billion worth of tax.
Well, in a defiant message before the Commons yesterday, Rachel Reeves insisted that she will be the Chancellor in 2 years' time.
Now, meanwhile, there are reports that backbenchers are planning to oust the Prime Minister. The reports are this will be next year. The reports are they will replace him and his top team with the Health Secretary, Wes Streeting.
Well, let's speak now to our political correspondent, Catherine Forster. Catherine, so much to get into. Should we start with Rachel Reeves hitting out at misogyny in public life and critics of her and her ability being misogynists?
Yes, she gave an interview at the weekend talking about the misogyny that she's experienced as a woman and the first female Chancellor. I suspect there is a bit of that, the Rachel from accounts sort of attitude. However, that does not mean that she shouldn't be criticised for bad decisions that have been made. Now, clearly, the budget last year, £40 billion of tax rises, she said, I will not have to do a budget like this again. Fast forward a year, and here it looks very much like she is going to have to do a budget like that again. They've got a £30 billion black hole. They can't blame the Conservatives for that this time. And look, there's going to be tax rises. She said last night she's got 3 priorities: cost of living, getting NHS waiting list down, and tackling the cost of the debt, which is currently £100 billion a year. £1 in every 10 that the government spending is going just on the debt. But look, taxes are going to go up tomorrow. They have gone back from raising income tax, which it sounds like they thought they were going to have to do, but now they don't. But I think certainly they are going to extend the freeze on income tax thresholds, probably for another couple of years, from 2028 to 2030. That, make no mistake, is a tax rise. It's going to drag millions of people into higher rate tax bands. Other things that are likely, if you're lucky enough to own a home worth over £2 million, you're going to be paying much more council tax, gambling taxes, tourist taxes, potentially pay per mile if you're have an electric vehicle. Cash ISA limits likely to be slashed. Sugar tax on milkshakes. And big supermarkets, it sounded like they were going to get a sort of reprieve from higher business rates. It sounds like that's not going to happen. So that is likely to be then fed through to all of us in the form of higher food prices, potentially.
But there's so many more businesses I mean, you talk about big supermarkets. Why not small supermarkets? Why not small shops? Why not corner shops that maybe one would see as more worthy of a discount like that in rates than the big organisations?
Well, the government has proposed, and in fact is bringing in some measures to help smaller shops and businesses, because we know that the high street is dying in front. But they were wanting to make the big supermarkets basically pay for that, and the big supermarkets are saying you've already hit us with increased national insurance.
They make not millions of pounds profits. They make billions of pounds profit.
Well, they do, but they are saying if you do, the British Retail Consortium is saying if you bring in these higher business rates, 400 shops could close, so presumably that's the big supermarkets. It's hard to know. I mean, Tesco had big profits announced quite recently, but all we know is we go into the supermarket. I can't believe I'm going to say this, I did buy a lot of wine because I had some parties to go to, and I bought a lot of vitamins because I'm not very well. £350 in Sainsbury's the other day on one trolley. I've never spent anything like that in my life.
Yeah. I think lots of people can relate to that. I mean, you're getting a basket of shopping now in the supermarket. It doesn't even look like very much. It's 30, 40 pounds.
I'll tell you how they're getting their money back. I've been to Tesco's twice in the past week, and each time I nearly died of frostbite. They're the coldest places that I've ever seen.
Leaving the freezer doors open.
Well, the staff they should all be on the sick. They should all be complaining about it. But the cold, do you think it's cold in here?
Wow, Tesco, couldn't I?
Also, another thing that they're doing is they're getting customers to do more and more of the work because they're scanning all your own shopping. Well, I used the Smart Scan the other day, and because I'd misscanned the loaf of bread, I'd accidentally scanned the full price rather than the reduced price. The whole
had to be done again.
Oh no, what a nightmare!
I asked to see the manager, but
good for you.
Catherine Forster, nightmare customer.
It won't be a nightmare before Christmas, though. Very good. Time is running out on our Great British Giveaway. It's a festive one, 40 grand in tax-free cash, £1,000 to spend in your favourite supermarket, and a GB News goodie bag. Here are all of the details that you need.
There's just 30 days until Christmas, and it's the final week to see how you can enjoy it on us. That's £30,000 in tax-free cash to make 2026 fantastic. A further £10,000 cash to spend on gifts for all the family, the tree and decorations. £1,000 in vouchers to buy a slap-up Christmas lunch at your favourite supermarket. And finally, a GB News Christmas goodie bag. Plus, we're going to get it all to you in time for the big day. For another chance to win, text WIN to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus one standard network rate message. Or text BONUS to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus one standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entries start at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge. Or post your name and number to GB17 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrance must be 18 or over. Lines close at 4 p.m. on the 28th of November. The winner may be contacted live on GB News, week commencing the 8th of December. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand. Good luck.
Now, do stay with us. Still to come. We're quite excited about this, aren't we?
Yeah.
When are we talking to the nation's oldest dog organisation? They've been given the Royal Seal of Approval. And we've got some dogs in the studio. There.
I don't know what our doggy's called, but...
we're joined by Tulip and Bob.
Tulip and Bob, OK.
That's Tulip and Bob.
That's a good advert as to why there should be provision in workplaces for animals and pets.
I've said I'm very happy to get a puppy and bring it in.
Yeah.
And you've been up for that, haven't you?
Yeah.
We just need to clear it with the bosses.
Tulip, who and Bob, did you say?
Tulip and Bob.
Yeah, OK.
Are in the studio
We look forward to Tulip and Bob and Janine right after this. Don't go away.
Decisions made in Washington aren't just shaping America, they're shaping Britain too. From migration to global security, from crime to health. Whatever happens in the White House today
will be felt in your town or city tomorrow.
That's why The Late Show is live from Washington, D.C.
Cutting through the politics to show you what it all means for Britain.
The Late Show live every night at midnight.
Only on GB News,
Britain's news channel.
Exciting news. Every Friday, my Patrick Christie's Tonight Show is going to have a twist to it. We're welcoming some special guests. You. That's right, on Fridays I'm going to be doing my show in front of a live studio audience because this show is about you and what you have to say. It's going to be the same big debates, same big topics, same big opinions, but every Friday night at 9 p.m. you are invited to come on down to Patrick Christie's Tonight to be a part of the action. Only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Hi, I'm Michelle Dewberry, and my show is your opportunity to cut through all the noise and dive in headfirst to some robust debates. Ideas clash.
Situation, isn't it?
No,
because the failure is
you're deliberately avoiding my point. Nothing's held back,
And if you think this is the end of it, wait for more.
and we do not shy away from the difficult stuff. Sometimes I want to shake people and say, if only you understood. So join me on Jubes & Co. weeknights at 6 p.m. only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
You want to know what's really going on in the corridors of power? Labour don't know what to do with you half the time, and that makes you quite lethal in the chamber. Get behind the headlines with Chopper's political podcast. Join me, Christopher Hope, as I sit down with the great and the good of British politics. We'll see where this ruling takes us. These are the stories shaping our nation. Chopper's political podcast, available now on all platforms. Listen in and stay ahead.
Britain was once the envy of the world. But look around. A nation that no longer knows what it is or where it's going. A country that's broken. How do we fix Britain? How do we bring it back? Friday night with Matt Goodwin at 8 p.m. only on GB News.
No matter the state it's in, this is our nation. Join me, Jacob Rees-Mogg, for a genuine, honest discussion on where we have been, where we are going, and where we are with the people who set the direction. Tune in to State of the Nation every Monday to Thursday, 8 to 9 o'clock. Only on GB News.
Britain deserves a newsroom that puts the facts and your voice first.
Well, and that's what you get on GB News. Lively debates, lively conversation.
And we're not afraid to hold power to account.
And each other. So join me, Andrew Pierce.
And me, Miriam Cates, for Britain's Newsroom, weekdays from 9:30 on GB News.
Well, we're going to have a bit of doggy time now, and Britain's oldest and most respected dog organisation is entering a new era. The honour of being granted the royal prefix by His Majesty the King.
Yes, they have officially relaunched now as the Royal Kennel Club, and it sounds really good. Well, let's speak now to the Royal Kennel Club CEO, Janine, Edgar and Tulip, and also Bob, who join us in the studio. You might be able to catch a glimpse, there you go, Tulip and Bob on our screens now. Janine, so good to see you. The Royal Kennel Club just sounds amazing, doesn't it?
It certainly is. So we are over 150 years old, and today we're relaunching, as you've mentioned, as the Royal Kennel Club because we've been awarded the royal prefix. But also what's really key for us today is that we're opening our doors to all dogs. So historically, we've been very focused on pedigree dogs.
So what does that mean? What does this mean? That you would welcome mongrels now?
Absolutely. So we've put a lot of energy over the past 150 years in research, health and well-being of pedigree dogs. And we feel we're in a really unique position to spread that to all dogs. So we're opening our doors using the Crofts brand.
And what would the benefit of that be, Janine? So, I mean, how up to scratch would my dog have to be before it became a member of your esteemed organisation?
Every dog is welcome, Eamonn. So we are launching the Crofts Club. As you know, Crofts is currently a 4-day event, which we have pedigree dogs and non-pedigree dogs there. But we are opening our doors for people to join the Crofts Club regardless of their dogs. What we're looking to do initially is to invite people to join the largest dog census so we can collect some data which will help us with our research and more initiatives.
So what would you be looking for in this census to find out which breeds are where? Or
Absolutely. So lifestyle, behaviour, health issues, so that we can start to really lean into more research that we already do for pedigree dogs, but we can extend that to non-pedigree dogs
what
as well.
I would say, just, you know, from experience around the place and knowing people that have mongrels, and your little dog, which one?
Tulip.
Tulip is what you call a mongrel.
Yes.
Yeah. And tell us about Tulip.
So So Tulip is my dog. I used to live in South Africa. And
Where in South
Joburg.
Oh wow!
Yeah.
And I rescued her 12 years ago. And brought her back to the UK.
Well, this emphasises the point I want to make. I've got a mongrel, a rescue dog.
Yes.
She's 17 years old.
Yes.
Right? 17. Yep. Unheard of. If I had a pedigree dog, she'd be dead.
Not necessarily.
Oh, I'm telling you, what pedigree dogs do you know at that age?
Oh, Jack Russells,
You're
for
asking an
example.
expert.
I mean, Jack Russells are a very robust breed. We tend to see them, you know, definitely into the late teens.
What I'm saying is that it's more likely that the pure breed dogs have got certain weaknesses in their systems that don't make them last so long. That's her 17 years ago. That's when she was a baby.
Oh, beautiful.
And, you know, well, she's not so attractive
she
looking
is.
nowadays.
She's a little grey around the edges.
I've got better with age, and the dog's got better with age.
So we do a lot of health testing of our dogs, and that's something we really pride ourselves on. So we do a lot of DNA testing to make sure that the breeders are informed about making sure they're breeding the dogs for their health benefits. So we also do a lot of research and try to make sure that any health issues that the dogs have are bred out, because we do that level of testing, and that's really important to us as the Royal Kennel Club.
Yes, and I think this is going to be a good thing for adopting dogs as well. I mean, the fact that what you have done is you've adopted, not shopped, and I'm a big advocate of that. And one of the things I was simply trying to say is that anecdotally, I think those dogs which are not pure breeds, you've got a pretty good chance of having them for longer.
So it's really interesting you talking about rescue dogs there, Eamonn, because one of the things people don't know about the Royal Kennel Club is that we help facilitate a number of rescues. So last year we helped to facilitate rehoming 6,000 dogs, and they're all pedigree dogs, and they don't tend to be in your kind of larger animal welfare areas, because our breeders take them back, they look after them, and we help facilitate them find great homes. So we're not just about puppies, we're also about rehoming the dogs within our organisation.
Ellie and I talk about dogs all the time, and she intends to bring a new doggy into her life.
Yep.
And then she goes, well, the training and this and that. And I said, but if you rehome a dog that's older, you don't have those problems.
Oh, I don't think that that's the case at all. So Tulip was very challenging.
I agree with anything that I said. But I think, you know, if the dog's a year old or 5 years old or whatever, you've got all that potty training business all gone.
So my advice would be is to make sure that you get the breed that suits your lifestyle. Yeah. I don't know if you've been to Crofts, but we have a fantastic area called Discover Dogs. There's 225 breeds there. You can go and cuddle the breeds, you can meet the owners, and the breeders are very honest about what sort of dog would suit your lifestyle. And then if you do decide to get a puppy, the Royal Kennel Club can assist you with doing that, or if you would prefer a rescue, we can also assist you with doing that also. And we also have a fantastic training programme called the Good Citizens Training Programme. So right from the get-go, whether you get a rescue, whether you get a pedigree dog or a non-pedigree dog, the Royal Kennel Club has services that many people can take advantage of.
So tell us about Bob and Tulip, who are here on the studio floor with us, aren't they? So what mixes are they? Do you know what mixed breed they are?
So Bob is a Portuguese water dog, so he is a pedigree dog. He's 8.5. He's also a medical detection dog, which we're very, very proud of.
He is a very handsome
He's very proud. He's actually our office dog. He's in 5 days a week.
That's the other thing. I mean, I
fantastic.
think all workplaces should have access
Absolutely.
to animals.
Would you be an advocate for an office dog?
Oh, for sure. Yes, absolutely. We have a lot of office dogs, as you would expect. Bob is the one that's in 5 days a week, probably one of our hardest workers.
He's very good.
But it's great to see. So I say Tulip, I rescued from South Africa. She's a mixed breed, so she's a crossbreed, but she definitely chose us, and I think that's what we learned about dogs is
Janine,
that love.
I would love to talk to you all day, but we have got the health minister who we're going to talk to now. We've got to cut in there with you. Thank you for bringing your friends in the studio. Good luck with what you're trying to do.
Lovely.
And well done on being royal.
Yes.
Thank you very much indeed.
Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Bye, Tulip and Bob. Thanks, Janine.
Thank you.
Good to talk to you.
And we have the Health Minister, Karen Smith. So we'll say hello, good morning and welcome. Karen, do you have a dog?
I don't know. That sounded lovely.
Your life could change your life. Just checking out if that's the case. Karen, what you do plan to do is turn health centres into one-stop shops, and this is something which will cut waiting lists. It'll make the health service more efficient. But you can explain it better than me.
Well, I think one-stop shops is a helpful sort of title for people. We said in our 10-year plan that we wanted to move care out of hospital into communities where people actually live and stop people being bounced around the system. Many people will have experienced this. You've got maybe a couple of conditions, maybe diabetes and maybe heart problems, and you repeat your story, you're on different lists for different tests and so on, and many travelling into hospitals. We want to stop all that. We want to build services around people and the conditions we know they have, particularly older people, and some of the conditions that arise, not for everybody, but as a result of being older, more frail, people who are more frail. So bringing all of that into your local neighbourhood, and crucially having decent buildings in order to provide those services. This has been talked about a lot over the years. I'm sure you remember that like I do. But these new neighbourhood health centres, actual buildings as well in our neighbourhoods, bring that promise into reality.
About this new UK clinical trial. It's to assess the risks and benefits of puberty-blocking drugs in children who question their gender. Have you got any more details on that? Because, of course, this follows the banning of the drugs for gender treatment last year.
Well, this stems from the work done by Dr. Hilary Cass, her excellent report on the treatment of children presenting with gender dysphoria. And one of the things she said in that report was that there was no evidence for some of the treatments that were happening. So as part of that report, she said we needed to have more evidence. So we are acting on those recommendations, and the trial will start at King's with experts carefully monitoring and looking at the trial in the best traditions of good trials to get that good evidence base that is needed.
Yeah, there are concerns, though, aren't there? Because the trial is going to involve 220 children who are under the age of 16 and, of course, going through puberty. So some clinicians, some campaigners questioning whether that trial is ethical.
It is an area of huge concern, and at our heart we have to have these young people, and that is right, that is a subject of discussion, but as that report, that seminal report from Hilary Cass pointed out, the evidence is not there, so we need to find that evidence, and these young people will be coming through some of the new services and into King's, who are a hugely reputable organisation, in order to make sure that the trial is conducted along good ethics, good sound scientific principles, and that is heavily monitored, so that is providing the best evidence base that we can get.
Karen, one thing I want to check out with you, and we hear that the Chancellor is claiming she's been subjected and she's experienced a lot of misogyny, right? So as a woman in the world that you're in, that political world that you're in, is that something you can empathise with, agree with her, or is it not the case in your life?
Well, I think this came from a question put by other colleagues that looked like Rachel is the first Chancellor in 300 years of this, of having Chancellors. She's very proud of that. And yes, of course, we know that, often women are the only women in the room. I've been in senior meetings and I'm the only woman in the room. So we know that women have still got a way to go in breaking through some of those barriers. But Rachel loves a challenge. She's had that challenge through her whole life. I think the story she tells about, the boys when she played chess against them, not expecting to be beaten by the girl, that is a bit of a fact of life that Rachel's grown up with. That's what I've grown up with. We take that on, we battle against it. We want to inspire another generation of young women to come forward and get involved in politics. And she's really focused on doing a great job, and she wants to be that great Chancellor. She's opened the door for thousands of women coming forward in all aspects of life, in the financial services, in the city, and throughout politics. So we take on the challenge, and we're going to make sure that we get parity. Where I'm standing here in Parliament, we're at 40% in Parliament. We've got to make sure we've got a 50-50. That reflects the country, so onwards.
And just finally, rumours this morning that Labour MPs are plotting to oust not only Rachel Reeves after this budget, but also the Prime Minister, Sir Keir Starmer, and replace the Prime Minister with your boss, Wes Streeting. Do you think Wes Streeting would be a good Prime Minister? And will Rachel Reeves and Sir Keir Starmer both be in their positions in 2 years' time?
I mean, look, I'm shaking my head, just really, and I know Wes is really fed up of this stuff. I mean, you know, last week, or was it the week before, I can't quite remember, so it was like water off a duck's back, but, you know, he's fed up with it because he's really focused on the job he's doing and doing a great job, and he's a hard taskmaster as a boss. He's driving us as a ministerial team to be getting down those waiting lists, doing what I'm doing today, bringing care into the community, building these neighbourhood centres. We're a really tightly focused team on delivering that, and that is absolutely 110% where his focus is.
Karen, we're out of time. We appreciate your time this morning. Thank you very much indeed. We say thank you and goodbye to you. And we say goodbye to you as well. Thanks for watching us from 6 a.m. today. Up next, we'll say goodbye. We'll be here back again tomorrow. Britain's Newsroom with Miriam and Andrew next.
Expect warm spells with the odd rude interruption. Boxed Boilers sponsors the weather on GB News.
Good morning. Welcome to your latest GB News weather update from the Met Office. It's going to be the sunniest day of the week for many of us today, but it is feeling colder out there and there is a frost expected more widely this evening. We've got a northerly wind across the UK, particularly across coastal areas, and this will drag in a few showers to eastern areas of Scotland, England, as well as southwestern areas of Wales, down in the southwest of England too, down into Cornwall. But for many of us, it will be a dry and clear day. Plenty of sunshine out there, but with that northerly wind, it will feel chillier. Temperatures in the single figures wherever you are, and particularly if you're exposed to that onshore wind off the North Sea, it's going to be feeling colder than it has done over the past few days. And now into this evening, there's very little in the way of change. Another dry evening to come for many areas. A few showers, though, across the far north and west of Scotland. We've got a weather front approaching from the north and west that will take centre stage throughout Wednesday afternoon. Across Northern Ireland, we'll start to see some cloud thicken, but further inland across Scotland, northern areas of England, we'll start to see that frost setting in this evening quite early on, I think. And a few showers could come further inland across eastern areas of England this evening. But for many of us, it is going to be a dry night. And as I said, the frost will really start to set in. You can see those blues across the map. That's showing we're expecting temperatures to dip below zero. So it's quite a widespread affair by Wednesday morning away from the far southeast of England. So we could be down as low as -6 or -7 across parts of Scotland, -5 across rural areas of Wales and parts of the Midlands. As I said, on Wednesday, we've got a weather front on the way. Now, that will push into parts of Northern Ireland, much of Western Scotland throughout Wednesday morning. The rain's not going to be particularly heavy, but there's going to be a lot of cloud with it. And with this rain and cloud, temperatures will be on the rise. You can see the wind direction starting to shift to more of a southwesterly, so up to 11 or 10 degrees. But in the south and east, although it's dry, it's still going to be a chilly one. Bye-bye.
Expect warm spells with the odd rude interruption. Boxed Boilers sponsors the weather on GB News.
Thank you, Britain, for making us the fastest growing news website in the nation, because the truth matters, and so do you.